It's 4:31. Okay, so I'm going to call this meeting of the Nantucket Historic District Commission to order. It's 4:31 on Tuesday, June 5th. Present at today's meeting are John McLaughlin, Stephen Welch, Diane Coombs, Val Oliver, and myself, Ray Cole. The only person I know who's not going to be here for sure is Abby, unless you guys have heard anything else. Do you think before we get started, anybody that wants to record any portion of today's session should let us know in advance? And any conversations other than the conversation happening at the table should happen out in the hallway so that Terry can pick up the minutes. Thank you. Can I have an approval?
So move.
Thank you, Diane. All those in favor of Diane's motion to approve today's agenda?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Public comment at this time, anyone? Hearing none, we'll move right along to the consent agenda. Nice short 3. I don't think anybody needs to recuse, right?
Nope.
Okay. Have a motion.
Motion to approve consent agenda 1 through 3.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. John has abstained, I believe, right? Abstained, yeah. Hi, Kevin.
Hello.
We have 5 signs today.
Yes, we do. Number 1 is still on hold for 45 Surfside.
Motion to hold number 1.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 2 is recommended for approval with comments.
Motion to approve per sign advisory committee. Comments.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Number 3 at 8 Broad is on hold for revisions.
Motion to hold.
Hold.
Thank you. All those in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
And numbers 4 and 5 are recommended for approval.
With comments or just?
Nope, just straight out.
Okay.
Motion to approve 4 and 5.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thanks, Kevin.
And John got some ticketing done this week, so
Oh, excellent.
we're happy.
That's great. He's been out killing it.
Tim, I abstain on.
The signs? Yeah. Okay. Terry, did you get that? John abstained on the sign 1 through 5 sign applications. Hi.
Hi.
So you got again, this is what, the 4th week in a row, you get 8 people?
Oh, yeah, it's one thing after another.
Only 5 can vote.
Or you're wearing a
That's right.
jacket?
Yeah, I'm freezing.
It gets cold in here. It's like downstairs.
It does. It's
Here,
either too
definitely.
hot or too cold.
Sitting is Coombs, McLaughlin, Oliver, and Welch.
Who is it again, John?
Coombs, McLaughlin, Oliver, and Welch.
This is still Nally.
Everybody on that side of the table.
Chris. We have,
Which side comments?
do we have any?
I do. So they met yesterday and reviewed it.
They met yesterday.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
Was there a
is,
notice that they went at that they were meeting yesterday?
Yes, yep.
it is contributing,
Town calendar section.
and we had 4 members
Town
sitting.
website.
And new ridge line should be no higher than the existing ridge line. New addition obliterates existing structure, and structure is highly visible. And that is all they have to say on that particular thing.
Diane,
Yes?
I did speak, because I looked at it, I did speak to Michael May, and he said they didn't bother to write down everything they wrote down in December. And they felt the same way in December that they feel now.
Yeah.
They just didn't feel the need to write it all down again because nothing's changed, quote unquote.
Well, they didn't like it in December, so.
Page with names for the record.
And who they're representing.
But on this side,
Yes, can we,
Ginger Andrews, the immediate abutter.
I know Ginger,
No, Ginger.
Vin is here, otherwise Chris Sheckle, Linda Williams, and
Christopher, the other applicant,
Christopher Scanlon.
you're for,
Opposed.
you're for, are you representing,
Ginger.
you with Ginger?
I'm with Ginger, I'm with her.
And vice versa.
Chris, do you have a site plan?
I
by
gave you the
any
site
chance?
plan last time we were here.
Well, honey, not just one.
I believe that's a land court plan, Bill.
okay, would you like to tell us what you have done, changed, or whatever?
Well, I think we took on board what the board was asking for last time. We gave you more detailed plans. We've shown the windows that we're going to keep the existing windows and reuse them, marked by an X. And we've taken on the board's comments about stepping the building back, and we've stepped the building back in 3 places. And giving you a demo plan, and there we have it.
You ready for us?
I will hear or you.
It's me. Diane, I have a handout.
Okay.
It's everybody on this side of the table, right?
Yeah.
No, John, that goes to Steve. Yeah, I was gonna give you one. That goes to Steve. If you take a look at the minutes, I mean, the HSAB, which is the green copies,
Yep.
that's all the times they saw it. And as I said, I called Michael May this morning and asked him, what's the story? And he said they just didn't bother rewriting the whole thing, but they still have concerns about it obliterating the structure. You asked for them to do several things. If you go to the piece behind the green, you will see the minutes.
Yep.
And there were a lot of things asked for, topography, to move the addition south, along the bluff, to leave as much of the main mass, the historic structure, the contributing structure intact. That's still not the case. You asked to bubble, so they did bubble, but that's about it. There are very few changes. If you go to the bigger pieces at the back, you see January's, February's, and May's. If you go down the hill, nothing's changed. It's still obliterating the existing structure. If you look at the photos, which I had in the file, I didn't find them in there, but I can give them to you again next time. It's highly visible. The whole thing's visible from Stone Alley, which is a traveled way. And it's completely on the east side, visible from Union Street, right between 2 houses, dead on. You had a bunch of concerns about the main structure remaining intact and putting the addition on the south side. You had a bunch of comments about every single part of this is changing, the ridge heights, the amount of windows on the east side, I believe. None of it has been addressed. All you have to do is go straight down the page and see that nothing's changed.
Can I ask you a question? Was it not mentioned at some time that we wanted it to telescope? Can you put that down just a second?
Telescope to the south and not the main body of the house.
Right, so that
Yes. It went the other way.
it didn't change that.
Yep. You didn't
I don't
have all
see
these
where it's a-
windows, these elevated decks,
Do you have the
all
site,
the other stuff that's on it.
the site plan?
No, there is no.
And there's
this
no
is-
topo, guys.
There's just this, which I drew on, I think, the last time to
Oh,
show
okay.
my
That's
suggestion.
today.
There's no real good site plan, there's a land court plan, there's no topography, which you asked for twice for a topo, to see how it built into the side of the mountain there.
Right.
the Bluff. None of that's been submitted. The plans that were submitted are inadequate and incomplete, because you're supposed to submit an entire new set every time they come in, because you've Xed off the other 2 sets that were here. You didn't really hear it the last time it came in because nothing had changed and they hadn't given you the information they asked for. Nothing's really changed here significantly, and they didn't give you the information you asked for again.
It looks like if you go over your stuff, just to get it onto the tape, it says that on the March 20th meeting, 2018, it basically was held.
Because they didn't, I was here, remember, earlier in
Yeah.
that meeting? Because they hadn't changed anything and they hadn't submitted what you asked them to submit. So I figured the best way to indicate that was to give you all 3 submissions and all 3 sets of minutes and all of the historic structures stuff that they put in the file. So again, we're asking that it not be heard.
You didn't ask
Because
that, you
the-
didn't ask that it
I'm
was heard
asking-
last time.
Very briefly, if you recall. I
don't believe
am
you did.
asking again that it not go forward until they give you what they want. Unfortunately, they did sign an extension to July 20th, I believe. And they have time to give you what you asked, and they have time to redesign this to meet the statements that you've made every single time.
I think-
I'm not finished, thank you.
Oh.
I'm concerned, Diane, that they're going to nickel and dime this and push it out, push it out, push it out, and not give an extension again when it gets to July, and that's coming up on us, and try to go for the tacit approval, because they haven't responded to what the board has asked for. And you have the right to deny it now due to lack of response to the concerns and the request for information, but that's up to you guys. They got another 6 weeks to go before they run out of time.
That's right. One of the things which I don't see,
Just before we go further forward, Diane,
What?
can I speak?
yeah, is there something new? If,
Do you think I
don't
would
want you
speak
to go
because I've got
back and
nothing else to
forth
say?
with Linda, if you have a statement to make about what's on the application, that's
The
fine.
application has changed every time that it's been applied for. It is, the plans have changed every time it's been applied. And from the day it started, the plans have changed each time. So
Very
please,
minimally, though.
please understand, this is what the client wants. The
No, I
client
get
wa-
that, but-
And you want what you want, so we're giving you certain things that you want, and this is what the
What
client
have
wants.
you given us, though, Chris, really, that we
st-
wanted?
You wanted the whole property kept, the whole building kept from the front. And that's what if you look at the plans, that's exactly what the applicant has given you.
That is not, Diane, that is
May
not
I-
actually what you asked for. You asked for the whole structure to be minimally changed and go south.
And
What we asked for is a topo map, first of all.
my understanding, I gave you a topo map, but you obviously don't have it on.
No,
Yeah?
and you should always bring some when you come.
Well, you know
We
what,
do
I
not
thought about that today.
Have one, and there are no measurements on the elevation saying how tall it is. One of the questions that came up in the past was that it was at 34 feet. And
Be at 34.
one of the charges we have as the HDC is to maintain a building as the streetscape requires, and the buildings over there have not been exceedingly high. They've been,
Every building around it is considerably larger. Every building. Gingy's building is a large building. The building down at the
it's
bottom.
not
you-
large, I'm talking about height.
Height. Gingy's building's very tall too. So
Hold
every
on,
building
hold on.
around,
All
every
right, this
building around
is
it.
not getting us anywhere.
That's right.
I gave you pictures in the file. I don't know if they're still in there, but I have them on my camera and I can print them out again, showing you the structures that are around it. Nothing is 34 feet on the bluff side. They're all on top of the bluff. This crawls down the bluff another 10 to 12 feet out and starts crawling down the bluff, which is why you asked for a topo, which you did not get.
Okay,
Relevant to this
we
structure?
have all the things we didn't get, so let me start getting this through.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Jesse Dutra is also, Commissioner Dutra is sitting on this application too.
Oh, good. Can he get a set of plans?
Here, he can have, yeah.
Jesse?
Thank you. Can I speak?
You want to start?
Yeah, Chris, I hate to say it, but we gotta have the information in one package. You're not gonna make any headway with what you're presenting if there's opposition to you and we don't have everything in front of us so we can determine what's being said relative to your point of view and the other person's point of view. So my suggestion, as my first thoughts on this are, one, we need a complete set of drawings with a site plan we've asked for a topo. I don't know that it needs to be to the 3-foot range, but at least every 5 feet.
Coming down the hill, it's very steep.
Is it steep? So if you have a 3-foot,
Is that all right? Is that okay?
I'm just trying to prevent issues. If you're gonna do a topo, let's get it out of the way now. And if the opposition is gonna be, well, it should have been 2.5 feet versus 5 feet. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's just get it all in front of us so we can come up with a solution to what's being, we can understand what's being proposed and then we can actually act on it.
Okay.
So I would like to ask for a topo with a 3-foot contour, a site plan, and any height measurements to the ridges shown on the elevations.
Okay.
And then I would suggest that we pursue this when the entire package comes in.
That's fine. I just want to make
That's fine,
some general
Bob.
Yeah,
comments again.
that was just my own position on it because
Okay, fine.
I just was reviewing what I said, and I see in all of the minutes, I've said basically the same thing, and that is, it needs to have more additive massing, and I think what has happened in this design idea is that the original house has become the additive massing, and so by virtue of that, it's obliterated. I mean, it's complete on the west, but the side that we really see is the north, coming down the alley.
East.
And I think you'd do yourself a huge service if you could make at least something, a connector to whatever you're proposing off the back or side, lower than the main building's ridge, and give it the additive massing idea. This here takes our existing structure and basically encompasses it. It kind of just sucks it in. And I think that's not working for you, and that's why maybe there's been some minor changes since the beginning, but it has not significantly changed at all, as far as I can tell, in terms of its arrangement and massing. It's too big of a bulk all in one section.
So you'd like
I think I suggested the last time to look at something like making a connector off the back or off the sun port, and then doing your larger mass, which is also lower by virtue of the topo. It will appear that it's stepping down.
which I think just and
Well,
Can I- can
no,
I speak
let
to
the
that?
commissioners finish, please.
So
John-
that was my 2 cents.
John, have you got anything you'd like to say now before we hold it for further?
John? You want to make comments?
Yes.
These are sort of basic comments.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Thank you.
roof pictures are not shown, whatever they are. They're not shown. Trying to figure out this decking here that you got. I am not sure. I'll pass for a minute. Don't want to go. Right here. All decking right here, 1982.
Just your comments.
Yeah.
Oh, my turn. I agree with Val, and I also agree with Steve that we need some more information. And basically, I think it was something that was said all along, that it feels like, especially on that main elevation where it's just too much being attached to the existing building, if there's some way we could disconnect that a little bit.
All righty. Is John, are you ready?
I'm still trying to measure.
Oh, all right, well,
We need to cut this
I'll
second
put
there.
mine in and then we may
Yeah.
hold some of your measurements. I believe I have mentioned on the past thing is I would like to see more true additive massing, not
25.
a porch and the front door and have that as a second building. This building needs to come down and have additive massing. The main building should stay. It is a contributing building, historic building. I think on your proposed east elevation, you have too much. The east elevation is going to be visible from Union Street. You have too many windows and decks and the whole thing not usually found on a historic building. So, and everything, as you look at that east elevation, there's nothing that's added to massing. It's too big I believe, from the way that you have it. They want to have the existing eave to be the tallest because it is the primary building. So keep that in mind. And we have suggested that you telescope it off to the south.
It is telescoped.
Well, when I think of a telescope, I think of this building this high, this one this high, and this one going down to a one-story. And it goes out. I don't see any part of that building, at least that hits me over the head with that.
Sure.
So, Johnny, have you got?
Yes, apparently there's 78 feet of decking and there's 166 feet of structure. So it backs him back to having, it's hard to figure this out, he's got so much of a mess here. And here's sharp pieces here. On the south elevation, he's 10 foot out, he's got to take off 2 feet. From here, bring it back to 8 feet, that's max. On the second floor of that elevation, right here. Now, this one, it has a difference.
Yep.
It's on the second floor. You gotta cut that back. What else was there? The description of the windows, the question with that, it doesn't mention what they are. It gives you the width and height of it, but it takes what the purpose is. All right, it's got mountains, but it doesn't mention if there's 6 slate windows or if this is existing. I don't know if you're going to keep it or lose it.
You're going to keep all the ones that, I think if you look at the schedule, I'm not 100% sure, John. I think if you look at the schedule, it says if denoted with X, I think they're existing windows and they'll be kept. That's my understanding, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, so what is cut here?
Oh, yeah.
Which side is that on?
Which one, John?
Oh, John,
Cornerstone.
John,
Yeah.
right down there.
Yeah?
It's a different, yeah, there you go. It's that roof.
But it's coming off the side. Yeah. I got it. Okay. Read the window description, okay?
So just for an abundance of clarity for myself, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. It seems like there's a consensus that as opposed to going off the rear, what I'm calling the rear, which I believe is the east, that there's general support for the addition to be going to the south.
Right.
As almost a connective mass that in of itself has additive massing attributes. So that it's not a large structure coming off the back and being stepped down. It's more that it's to the southern side of the structure and that's occurring. It's stepping down and using the topography to your benefit. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think some kind of an
We
L.
talked about that
Yeah.
back in the beginning.
Yeah, but that's what Val said, you said, and Diane. I just want to make sure we're clear, so I want to make sure I'm clear, so if I'm not clear, you may have to.
Everybody's very clear.
Okay.
I can only do what the client is requesting, and all I do is communicate what you're communicating to me, and I communicate that to the client, and then we go from there. And,
So, if you need some help when you're getting ready to put this back in, just have John help you. It's if you dash where you're getting rid of,
Yeah.
stuff and shade what's existing or something, it's abundantly clear that there's no attempt at additive massing on this.
Okay.
If you look at the floor plan, but you understand, and I know you're stuck in a
Yeah. I'm just doing
pickle.
what I have to do.
Sometimes people can't get exactly what they want. They
I
have
understand
to,
that, which is what he's understanding too. But
So
it
we
takes
have
time to.
We have a motion on the table to hold for further information
And revisions.
and mention revisions and whatever other revisions you want to come
in a
up with.
complete package.
Yep.
Every time.
Site plan,
Diane, can we put these green things, the things I did back in the file so I don't have to pre-copy them?
yep,
I'll put one to
Definitely.
this one.
Yeah,
No,
put them back.
you have to do that every time.
No, I don't.
Just
You
like I have to do it every
You
time.
do,
you
I
have to.
don't. So if you can put them back in the file, then I don't have to recopy them. I'll
Okay.
have to bring the pictures back in because they're not in there,
Give you something to do.
like I have to do.
are all
obviously
those in favor of that motion?
That,
Thanks very much, guys. Much appreciated.
Okay,
Thanks, Chris.
All right.
all those opposed? No,
Am I correct in thinking that no one is here for 5 Francis Street?
I'm texting him right now. He might have forgot, so let's skip him and we can come back to him.
Okay. I know he hasn't been so eager to address this, but, okay, so can I have a motion?
motion to
Well, let's,
put 5 Francis Street to the end of the,
yeah, that's fine.
then we
Okay.
can bring it out if he, when he gets here.
Right, so you can tell him that?
I
now?
did.
Okay. All those in favor of Diane's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Repeat that, please.
Number 2 is being held for-
2, he's not coming till the end of the meeting. All right. 20 Hussey Street. What's our board on that?
I believe I'm on there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know this one.
You're on it.
This is the driveway.
Yep, and we changed pretty much everything you guys said.
I don't remember there being.
Goshen looked good too.
Yeah, I love Goshen.
I just saw
This
that.
is Paul Coombs, McLaughlin, Camp, and Dutra.
Okay, so he forgot. He's coming.
Okay, but he's at the end of the agenda, so now.
I don't know, is there an alternate?
So I just figured it would be easier to just color code it, and plus my drafter's
Sorry, yes,
behind, so.
Stephen, you're on it. Paul Coombs, McLaughlin, Dutra, and Welch.
Thank you.
So I color coded the changes that you guys requested, the 2-foot beds on the sides, the change to the Goshen stone. The fence between the two properties become a 5-in-1 fence, and the Goshen trim.
Only thing is, I want to do the trim on the Hussey Street side there. I just make that brick to the asphalt.
So no Goshen trim, like where it meets.
I would suggest, but
Okay.
where it meets the asphalt.
Yeah, so just do brick up to the asphalt.
Right.
You mean eliminate the line that he's showing
Yeah, the
between
blue
the apron and the
The
brick?
blue,
Yeah.
So it would only be, it wouldn't be on along Hussey Street, it would be on either.
On the other two sides, because
The other two sides
the
of the
cap's
side.
already
Got
Goshen.
it. Okay,
cool with
that's
that.
reasonable. Anyone else?
That's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's simplify it.
That's why it's good to have a landscape guy on the HGC.
That's right. That's right. Okay, anything else, folks?
Question,
Yes.
So,
what is this red line?
the setback.
Huh?
Setback.
Thank you.
No problem.
where you gonna put the 5-in-1 feet of fence?
It goes in between the cottage and the main house at the lower.
It's a
Okay.
pretty short
Yeah.
run, Diane.
That's where that planting is now. across.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes down
That's-
low. Yeah.
Stephen, Jesse, anything?
Good. Jesse's suggestion, I think, is a good one
Okay.
that cleans it up.
Done?
Motion to approve subject to Jesse's suggestion.
Jesse's suggestion being the elimination of the Goshen stone trim between the parking area and the sidewalk. All those in favor of Stephen's motion? Oh, I'm sorry.
I have one question.
Oh, yeah.
This 5-in-1
Yeah.
fence. It's down here?
Yeah, it's down there.
It's a little length that goes from You showed them where.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yeah,
Here,
it was
it's
down
right
here.
here.
It's just a little length of fence.
It's really an internal.
This goes down some, am I correct?
Well, so
It's sort of all
at a
really
lower
low.
elevation by like 3 or 4, at least 3 feet lower than here. So
You should have brought photos, but they would have helped.
I did have photos.
We have some.
Yeah, there were photos.
I had a question because this drop, we got a little problem with these 6-foot fences coming along, so.
So, John, just so you know, I'm sure you know this house. You have the parking area, and then it goes boom, it
Here.
drops way down, and that
Here's
fence
the
is way down at the
pictures.
lower
This is actually,
level.
this right here is actually a fence also, which sits on top of the wall. So that fence is going to block all your visibility for anything over here.
That's what was satisfied right there.
You satisfied? It's here.
Okay. Where is this point here?
This corner is this corner.
Yep, exactly.
Sorry to mark it up.
That's okay.
So this corner is here, and this porch corner here is here, and then it comes forward here. This is going to be very difficult to discern as a fence because you're going to see it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
See the edge of it. Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Stephen has made a motion to approve this application with the simple removal of the Goshen stone edge between the sidewalk and the parking area. All those in favor of Stephen's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, on to Ethan, 43 Union. Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Hi there.
Hey, Rick. How are you? Hey,
Good, how you doing?
Good.
No, that would be Linda.
Linda left her phone here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, let's have that. I'm sure there's also.
There's a treasure trove on there.
I can't call her because this is her phone.
Zip that up in your winter coat that she was making.
Stevie.
She was just calling for someone.
Thanks.
You'll hear Born to be Wild.
Resist the urge.
I know.
Resist the urge. It's on me.
Yeah, here comes Phil.
Just Oliver Welch.
Oh, Oliver Welch Dutra.
You're not on. You can take a vacation. Let's say
You're
your
not on
name.
this one.
Let them know your name.
Oh, Matt Matthews?
Okay.
Okay, but I need to look too.
He's the homeowner. So this house, so we took it out for a while based on your comments and redid the exterior design. And we submitted, I believe in your packet, a little set showing you the original submission, which is hopefully in there. And this is the new design. So basically it was, we rotated the gable 90 degrees, we simplified the ornamentation of all the trim, all this stuff. There was a big barn door that was fake on the front, we eliminated that and brought up the foundation matching the rest of Union Street and the house next door. So it looks like it was a little small house. It's rotated just due to the size of this lot. The lot is very tiny. Also, this house is designed around an existing tree that is owned by the town, and we don't want to touch the tree. We did meet with the town and the tree to design this not impacting the root system.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to add that
We swapped the orientation of the roof, which I think was Ray's suggestion. We got rid of a dormer window, and I think you mentioned we cut down on the trim package.
Yeah, the whole trim simplified the
Made
house.
it a lot simpler.
We also had a version, I think this doesn't have shutters, but we did one with putting shutters on, but that's a side thing. Anyways.
May I ask a question?
Sure, absolutely,
as
Diane.
the
Go
butter?
ahead.
And I didn't catch it either. I was writing up the other one. What are you doing with the tree?
Nothing, this house is designed around the tree, So we met with the town
Yeah,
tree guy and Bartlett Tree, but they were both there.
Dale was there.
He was.
Yeah. Okay.
So therefore, this design is also not to impact the root system.
Right,
So that's why it's this shape.
and it is, basically, it is a building you are putting on where that little barn is.
So the little garage is basically there, that's kind of grandfathered in the
Right.
footprint, and so this is kind of like protrude from that shape. Yes.
Because then you had that stone wall
Yeah, that's
behind it from three,
the neighbors or yours. You someone?
three mulberry land bends. I don't know how long that stone wall is, that three mulberry, but
Is it your?
We don't have a wall.
We don't have a wall on his property. That
No.
could be.
it's three mulberry has a big tall stone wall, and then they have that parking lot right
Right.
behind 45, and then this is the garage
Yeah.
next to it. I don't think you have a stone,
No.
not your stone wall, but you don't have a stone wall in the back drive. That's good. I'm concerned about the tree. I live directly opposite.
I know you do, yeah.
He's your neighbor. So this whole thing is to not affect the tree.
Good.
So basically, completely change the outside of the house and hit each one of the things that you had requested.
Okay, thanks. All right. Let's see. Val, you ready?
Sure.
Okay.
I appreciate the changes, thank you. I think it really helped a lot. The gable forward on the street is mitigating the overall height. The reduction of the trim keeps it a simple little structure, which is what it is. And I just have two questions. One, it says sonotube foundation, so what will go around that, just like a brick face?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's a kind of a fake foundation in the area of the sonotubes.
That's because of the root system.
Right.
No, I get that. I just wanted to know, because it says here, thin brick on foundation wall.
It's sort of like what I did with Francis, the Francis' little house. Those were concrete piers with the brick inset.
Mm-hmm.
The brick fake piers with the lattice. And, yeah, it's like
So we're not going to see the piers?
No.
Okay.
Underground.
And then I just have a question about your window trim. Is it really going to miter like that?
It's actually red, and it not only miter, but it looks like it's a built-up trim. Like as if it were an interior window casing or door casing.
We can make it a flat trim if you'd like. It's not a problem.
I think that would help.
We did want to put shutters on it. I think Ethan submitted the
There's a little plan right here that might have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you have two versions.
Yeah, one's with
Shutters
one's without
basically
shutters.
go on the only on the one elevation, which is the north.
right. And then,
I like the shutters.
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
The house next door has shutters, that's why.
Right. Thanks, Val. Let's see who's up next. Steven, you ready?
Yeah, I appreciate the changes. I think it's a dramatic, it changes it from inside a garage, kind of like a not successful TARDIS to actual little structure, which is very charming, by the way.
Thank you.
I had some reservations that I'm going to state them, but I'm not going to make the request that there would be some like in situ, this is a new structure that's dramatically, although it is small and it is charming, it is dramatically larger than what exists today. Mm-hmm. And to see just a elevation of the three structures along Union Street together, it may be necessary for a different structure. I don't think it's necessary for this. It was an initial thought. And then the next question is, I think I may have heard, but did we ask what the colors are?
I think it's white trim.
Yeah, white trim, dark green shutters, dark green front door, and natural shingles.
Oh, that's good.
And
Did you want to paint the brick?
Yeah, we're going to paint the
That's
brick
next to
dark
it.
green as well.
okay, and then the last question is, we've been doing some study of fences and gates, and if you were to look at an image of the existing garage, the picket fence that is there wraps from the parallel to the sidewalk
Your fence.
down along to the existing structure, so perpendicular by maybe 8 or 10 feet. And historically, that's been a wonderful thing because it kind of creates a sense of connectedness of the structure to the street, as opposed to having a fence go straight across the
Turn
front.
that so you can see it.
As opposed to having a fence go straight across the front with a gate, by having it wrap in, it creates a sense of connectedness. So I understand you don't have a hardscape in front of us, but I would ask you to consider that when you, because it does reflect what was there, and I think it's a nice little tilt of the hat to that. So those are my comments.
Okay. Thanks, Stephen. Jesse?
Yeah, I don't really have much concerns. I think the flatten out that trim would be a good idea, and I think I like the shutters better than no shutters. And this is more of a question because I'm just not understanding the topography too much here. On the north elevation, it kind of jumps up there. Is that so?
Yeah, there's an existing hill. It does go up. If you look at the front elevation where the front door is, it looks like it goes back down again. It doesn't really. It continues to go up.
Okay, so if I'm looking at it from to the right, it stays at that elevation.
Yeah, it pretty much stays at the elevation where the front door is.
And now
I think it slopes up past that.
It slopes up pretty steep up Mulberry Street.
You know, this is basically Union, and it's going up to Orange, so that grade just kind of continues.
And that's basically the sidewalk grade.
Which?
This grade, or is this?
The sidewalk grade is down here.
Yeah, it's way down.
The grade.
You know, basically, if you look at that site, it hills up.
It does
fairly dramatically
from the sidewalk to the house.
Correct.
Yes. Over a short distance.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one other thing. The 6 light windows are awning. Can they be double hung?
Is that?
At least on the east and the north.
It would be more charming.
So that's
in the north.
It's.
We typically don't use awning windows in town or at all, really.
It's these little windows you want some instead of basically their top sash of the double hungs.
Yeah.
How would you, this window is so slight.
It would be a 3/3.
Yeah.
3/3, but you'd only be able to open it the height of one pane.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Otherwise, you have to consider what John likes is hoppers, and they open in, and that can be sometimes problematic.
Yeah, I've actually had those in another house. I'd be willing to. I would be willing to agree to either one of those two options, but I'd like to just see how that heavy meeting rail in the middle is going to look on such a small window. I'm afraid that the panes are going to get squat and it might not look so good. In which case, I'd want to have the option of going to the hopper
Well, would you prefer just doing the hopper units?
Why don't you just do the hopper units?
Then you don't have to
Let's
worry
do
about it. You don't have to change the drawings.
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay, so the only thing that I want to it sounds like we're already there, but I think that the windows and doors, the entry door, of course, should be the just flat stock 5/4 or 1x4 casing.
That's fine.
Okay, so.
I think I actually put that on the application.
What?
The actual.
Oh, you mean that's how
That's how I wrote it. It was
Okay.
drawn by somebody else, but I wrote it as standard because I assumed it's going to be flat stock. So, John, is it on there?
As long as it's in the record and understood by all.
May I?
Yes.
Just with the ornamentation you have at the front door on the main structure, I think you would benefit if you were going to use a flat stock to use like a 3/4 with a 5/4 headpiece across the top, or use a 5/4 with a 1.5 across the top, so you get a sense of differentiation and it picks up a little sense of detail which carries over from the front door trim.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
So craft a motion.
Sorry, Mr. So just clarification on the foundations, going to be painted brick?
Yes.
Painted green.
Essex green.
Yes, yeah,
So we'll get the minutes and I'll have all that written out.
Okay,
that's good.
who wants to put together a motion for me?
I'll give it a try.
Go for it.
So, motion to approve is submitted subject to revisions through staff to indicate, the W's will be hopper windows. The, trim will be, you want to use 3/4 with 5/4 or 5/4 with 1.5?
On the front door?
No, on the
on the
window
windows.
casings.
On the window casing, 5/4 by 4.
Could you repeat that?
3/4 with a 5/4 top or 5/4 with a 1.5 top?
I think I'll go with, well,
3/4.
let's say if I go with 3/4 on the legs, the shingles are gonna be proud of it.
They'll be flush.
Ever so slightly.
Yeah, it'll be
He's
like a
right, it'll
standard
be,
detail.
like ever so slightly proud.
Yeah.
The shingle edges will be proud.
Yeah.
Which is why people generally use 5/4.
Yeah, okay, so I think I better use 5/4 and then a little thicker piece at the
6/4 on
head.
top.
Okay, so the trim will be, the window trim will be 5/4 side casings, 6/4 top on the front, and flat stock throughout otherwise. And that way, if you want to do it on the rest of it, you can, but it's the front piece that we're concerned about.
Okay.
You got
You're calling-
Oh, and by the way, I was in favor of the shutters, and I heard a couple of other people that said that they liked the shutters. Are we in with the
Yeah,
shutters?
and the shutters is submitted. You submitted a drawing, or?
Yeah, it's the last
Yeah,
page.
it's drawing 3, or it's the last drawing. Okay,
Shutters
so
per A2.
For clarification, what color are the shutters? The green?
green.
Green.
Yeah, that's the string.
And you mentioned in your motion, what are you calling the front? North?
Just where the entry door
Front,
is.
okay. This
You
one,
know,
that's
the
all.
formal
The
door,
formal one.
not the one that faces the street.
Good.
That's the only side that wants to have that trim the way you described it.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor of Stephen's motion? Aye. You in, Val?
For when
Yes, aye.
when they take down the next house,
Okay,
it'll look even nicer.
Aye, aye, aye,
Thank you for
okay,
coming.
Thank you.
thanks, nice seeing you, Matt.
Hey, good to see you, Ray.
All right. Okay, emeritus shed. Oh, no, so sorry. 33 Orange Street, I'm so sorry. I'm not on my game today.
Down the coffee shop, get you a cup of Joe.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then I'd be up all night.
I was gonna
That's all
say
I need.
that.
Oh, God.
I'm not up all night.
I can't even drink coffee in the morning, let alone at night.
Oh my God. 4 16-ounces a day. Minimum.
You know, my mom could do that.
Yeah.
She had a pot of coffee brewing all day, all night, and she'd be sitting there drinking black coffee at 10 o'clock at night, and then 5 minutes later, boom, she was like out.
That's strange.
That's an art.
Yeah.
Sitting Cole,
Yes.
Cole, Coombs, McLaughlin, Dutra, and Welch.
So it's us.
Okay. So we made some modifications, and what I did to make it clearer to everyone, I also have pictures to hand around.
Oh, sorry.
I think everyone was convinced that the north is basically fine in terms of no visibility. North is the
Oh,
one
I
that's
just
right
threw them
next to
under
the
your
road.
thing, the pictures.
Over here.
Because it's wet and low.
So,
There's effectively no visibility.
I cut and pasted this together for them, so it was, I think, a little bit clearer. What I have on each elevation page is what was approved and what we're proposing that is different from that. I think having the existing house above and what's proposed now was kind of clouding the issue and confusing people. This has already been approved to have some alterations to the back. And I think if you look at it from that perspective, it's going to be a lot clearer that it's not as significant as you think it is. One of the main concerns was that the prior submission, addition, not the approved one, the prior
What we reviewed the
proposed,
last time.
was higher than the main ridge,
Was the same.
or the same height, and that has been lowered by over a foot. We've already also created a little bit more of a variation in the massing. Jump in
Yeah,
if you
so,
want.
so the items that came out of last week or the week before, whatever it was to reduce the rear L, which we've done, was to there were some gang windows, to separate those, which we've done, which was to go to a simpler trim, which we've done, and the windows, John, which were accidentally put in as, I can't remember what, but we changed them to 2 over 2.
Yeah, they're 2
Yeah,
over
but we
2.
changed them to 2 over 2. So those were the main topics that you wanted changed. So we changed all of those. And then there was some discussion about what was visible from where. And as Val pointed out, I think the photos that we provided demonstrate that really none of the rear L is visible from north, south, east, or west. At least as.
And I think the plot plan backs us up because you can see the house right next door to it is literally out there.
3 feet, 4
Yeah.
feet. So there's there's a photograph. Most of the conversation was about what you can see from the north elevation. There is a photograph that basically demonstrates you can barely see anything, and then there's a 3D rendition that I think is on your back page that shows that effectively you will be able to see a little bit of the north elevation, but it's very small. I don't know the footage, but you can see in the. Yeah, I think you're
Yeah, the second page,
second page. Sorry.
lower right corner.
I kind of read.
Yeah, you rejiggered it a little bit. I know what I gave to Val. I will. So I think that was a little bit less comment and more comment in what context. We were trying to bring more context to what was and what wasn't visible.
You good with this?
Yes.
We're all on. Yeah, okay, so
Comment?
I have one comment. Most of it is visible, it's just strange to look at it. I'll say the only thing that's straight on visible, in my opinion, would be from the side street, Plum Lane. If you're looking in, the only thing you'll see is the second floor from the back and the south side.
Yep. I think we had a picture of that.
Yeah, well, that's
With the gambrel right
You mean
here.
from the south side?
This is standing on Plum Lane.
he's looking between those buildings,
Right.
next to you on.
Yeah, which is what's
Right here,
demonstrated. Which is
John.
what's demonstrated.
Right
here.
there.
That's what you see. And then there's also a photograph.
On the top, right there.
No, that's the other side. That's the south side. This is from the north. You're talking from the north side. If you're talking from here, that's the north side.
If you stand in front of this house, and look up, you can see above these bushes.
You can't. Oh,
But
standing
my
from
theory-
in the house.
My theory is that most houses, I'll say 90%, are built, and there's somewhere that can be seen on the second floor.
Oh, you mean from
somewhere.
a second, not from the street level? You mean from somebody's neighbor from the second
No.
floor?
No, what he means is from the street, you'd be able to look over vegetation and see the second floor
Okay,
of
well,
your
there's a
house.
picture at least where it is today.
Yeah,
just,
number
just
one.
FYI.
Yeah.
Number one, and you can't see anything.
So this is,
It may change because it's going up a little bit. That's right here.
Oh,
That's standing on
that.
Plum Lane.
So there is
Looking
nothing
toward-
visible. You can't.
that chimney.
oh, that's
I mean-
not it right there?
Well, sorry. You're right. You can see
And
the
here
roof.
is the,
Right,
it's looking
so,
this way.
yeah, no, I mean, so that's John's point.
Yeah.
Is you
You can see very minimal.
right.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Right.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to say you can't see anything. That's fair.
Okay.
I agree with it, you know?
So, yeah, John, You can see that there's a little window there.
I'm just saying, on grading visibility, there's no problem. I didn't say there's a problem with it.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
I was confused.
Yeah, the rest of it is fine with me. That's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen?
First of all, I appreciate the changes to the drawings. It really helps us to see the differences in what was originally approved and what's being proposed. I did view the site. I have no concerns based on the visibility, and I would like to know what the colors proposed are.
Actually, we haven't done that. We'll use historic colors. It's like a light gray right now, so we'll use it gray. But we're going to end up having to come back for landscape approval, so I would assume we'll do those colors then.
What,
Do you
John,
wanna
what's
keep
on the
color that
application?
it is?
It will,
Here, we're just gonna,
sure.
White trim, white sash, white doors.
okay.
Okay.
So to that point, I'm an AWB guy, which is anything but white.
Okay,
ABW.
Oh, we're fine with changing it to something.
Okay,
great.
all right.
Yeah.
And was that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Jesse?
No concerns.
Okay. Diane?
No, just, you're going to use as many antique windows as possible that are,
Yes, the plan is to, save as much of the fabric that's original in that eld, and we're gonna take it and put it aside and rebuild it and use the stuff we can.
that's good.
Was there some question to clarify for the ZBA that?
It was
Yes,
about
thank you.
dismantling,
Okay, so-
which I mentioned in the first time.
Okay, so, but as opposed to having it be in the minutes, is that something that needs to be clarified?
That does.
We can put it on,
Otherwise, we'll be.
So we're clarifying in our motion that the existing rear is being dismantled with any salvageable materials being reused in the new construction.
Correct.
Is that, okay, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure I was clear on
Yeah,
what.
any,
Well, but is that language gonna help with the ZBA?
I think again, to no fault of the HDC or present company, at the I think I mentioned this before, at the ZBA, we had a lawyer represent us initially who unfortunately used the word raising. thinking it
Oh,
was
that's right, the two
R-A-Z-I-N-G.
spellings. Yeah.
The board thought it meant raising, R-A-I-S-I-N-G. And even though it wasn't that language wasn't anywhere in our application to the ZBA or to the HDC explicitly, so there was no confusion caused by the applications. It was confusion caused in a meeting. I was not at that meeting. I was at every meeting subsequent. And so certain members of the ZBA wanted to clarify that it was raising, R-A-Z-I-N-G. Again, why that requirement, I don't know, because.
Oh, I'll tell you why. Because if you take a building down, then you're not entitled to the same exemptions that you get if you leave it where it is.
that's right
I don't know what you're talking about. How much is it
I'm gonna be
worth to
buried
you?
with this. one.
In their review, Ray, was that they're reviewing it under the stipulation that it is R-A-Z-I-N-G, not
Which,
R-A-I-S-I-N-G.
it is.
It is.
The rear L is
You
clearly,
can take
and
that.
I don't think that was ever in question at this
Yeah.
board because it's like a new design.
Yeah.
So,
And that's why they
I'd
have
rather
to
move
shift
from the
it.
language, just to say that we're taking down or raising the end and reusing the reusing what historical
got it?
materials.
Do you know
It's the same
Raising with a
intent.
Z and reutilizing the materials.
As-
Correct.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that
No, thank
No, I
you.
think-
one of my
you bring
pet
it up.
peeves is people get stuck between the boards, and it's through no fault of the boards or the people, and so it's just, that's the nature of the beast, so I wanted to make sure that if there was
I
something.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
very much.
So do you want to do gray trim?
Yeah, I think Rachel will be fine.
Yeah, I'd be in favor of that because again, it sort of harks back to the existing
Right.
building.
It's current grade trim. I think white was just thrown on there for
Yeah,
aesthetic
no, I get
purposes.
it.
Yeah,
Okay, so that would be a
nothing against anyone, I
stipulation.
just-
No, we'd rather do
So
both.
abrasive.
We'll
Anything?
tell them Quaker gray trim. Can he have white sash?
AW,
A, B,
Can we come back with the specifics on the gray?
Well, we're going to approve something now.
Okay, then we'll just come back with my
Yes.
landscape.
So the motion would be to approve as submitted, noting that the approval includes raising with a Z the rear L and reutilizing to the extent possible any materials.
And
the
color.
color would be a typically acceptable HTC gray through
Let's say
staff.
Quaker gray
No,
for
I
now.
actually like your language.
Through
Because
staff.
Kristen-
Okay.
Because
So-
we have other
Yeah, I mean,
places we've
we-
used
'cause
gray
we have
on
like a-
Island,
yeah.
and I don't know what those are, but
There's
they're
a
not quite.
palette of.
What did you say about historically appropriate gray?
Yeah, through
Well,
staff.
well, I think
No, a typically approvable gray.
Typically
one of our grays.
Through staff.
Because I know the gray off Raccoon Street would be.
Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
I think I
Well,
changed
this is
the
all through
language there.
staff, right?
Yeah.
We're approving it through
Yeah.
staff.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
When were these
Aye.
pictures taken?
Like a
How
week or
far
two?
apart?
Oh, I think they were all taken like a week ago.
20 feet.
You trimmed all these trees?
Oh, that,
No.
no, that's one
No,
from when I
that's-
first
that's-
submitted the
I
application
noticed that.
last
Now
year.
you got open visibility. This gave you closed visibility.
Inspector Clouseau.
Just a comment, that's all.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, oh, that was Val, sorry. I knew when I took
Get
my
rid of
photos.
all for now.
Color.
Sash, did you want the sash white and
Color
the?
sash and
Also-
door.
All trimmed.
Yeah, I think, look,
It's fine with me.
seeing is, okay, yeah, so everything,
That's what it is.
an approvable gray.
That's what
Yeah.
it is.
And then if you want to make
We're fine with
modifications,
that. Our
that
other
go on in.
ones that way.
Okay, so there is a motion on the table. All those in favor of Stephen's motion? Aye. Aye. Very good, thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, now 9 Pilgrim New Shed. Oh my God. You're,
It's early
You're
to
like
be
the
on.
rest of the agenda. It's really funny.
Have a seat, Matt. Stay a while.
Yeah.
Should go quick.
Nothing's visible tonight.
Left over from previous weeks.
Do you want to look at the house first? I don't know why the shed.
Okay, so this 9 Pilgrim Road has two things. Let's flip them around. Yeah, that makes the most sense. Let's look at the house first. I don't even know if I'm on this, honestly.
Is this old?
Yeah, we're on old business now.
Am I on it?
This is Coombs, McLaughlin, and Dutra.
Oh,
That's why I couldn't ring the bell.
You want to pick it up? I'll just finish writing this up.
it says shed.
I think they're gonna do them in reverse.
House first.
Oh,
So,
Well, I'm sorry, I'm not on it.
I'm
That was
not
my
either.
suggestion, so,
Okay.
I mean,
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I had proposed the commission look at the new dwelling before the shed.
okay, that sounds like a good idea.
all right, shall
I'll
I
look
go?
at that.
Thank you. So I think most of the changes were relegated to the windows, and starting on A2.1, drawing 2 south elevation. What we did is we changed the proportion of the second floor windows, the D type. We made them a little bit, I think we felt that they were a little bit too skinny, a little too vertical, so we added a little bit of width to those, width to those. And then secondarily on the first floor, we've got the A and the C type. The A type, it's a little bit of a visual, I don't know what the proper term is, anomaly of sorts, because the A type and the C type pane size is identical. But if you look at it on the drawing, it looks like the C types are a little bit fatter or something like that. I don't know if that's a function of the clouding or whatnot, but we literally, I think on the door and window schedule, we actually measure the panes. So it is a consistent size. So I just wanted to point that out because it does look like they're different, but we definitely checked it a number of times. The bottom is different, yes, but the pane size, because when I initially looked at it, I felt like it was bigger. But that C type could also easily be a 9 light if you felt that was more appropriate. But that was one of the windows you asked me to change. The remaining windows on A2.2, drawing 1 east elevation, same applies. B and C types. I think that the B type, that was a great call by the board because they were looking really narrow. So Those are the primary comments, Madam Chair.
All right. And, John, do you want to start off?
I was gonna ask you the three things, right? Window,
Yep. Yes.
has the house been approved?
No, it has not.
Okay. I was questioning the location of the F windows. Let me see what they are.
Need them all fixed. For you.
Fixed transom. No, that's too much question. Thank you.
That's it? Jesse, you got something?
No, I don't.
But I think the windows that are 6/1 on the shore are interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them, I don't think I've seen them used very much, but I think they're interesting. So may I have a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Are you voting, John?
I'm okay.
No, we have a vote, we have a motion on the floor to approve.
Yes.
Okay, that's all of us.
Where did what come from?
This?
We've talked about it for like 5 months as a group.
Again, I guess I'm not on this because I wasn't on the house.
We talked about it, we voted it.
This is the shed? This is the shed?
Yes, the zoning
Okay.
shed. And it's pretty straightforward. All details match the main dwelling. And,
All right, John, do you want to begin this?
I don't know, I haven't even seen it.
Is that
As a shed.
Jesse, can you?
Matt, you basically addressed our concerns, correct?
yes. There was really no concerns.
Just dropped the
cottage per se.
Was it, you lowered the ridge a little bit or something?
Yes, we did actually.
Yeah, I have no concerns.
All right. I have no concerns. I think you did everything you were asked to do, suggested that you do. So, John, would you like to make a comment?
Yes, only one, where the location. If you could go back, so it's not almost in line with the front of the house, back like 4 or 5 feet.
It actually is set back from the face of the house by probably about 4 feet. If you look at the site plan.
At least 4 feet.
Yeah, so this front face here.
Right, I'm saying why couldn't it go back a little bit further?
I was trying to have this portion, if I push it, I feel like this corner might be set back from here and throw off that relationship, you know what I mean? I agree with you not having it the same face, but if I pushed it, it's almost as if that pergola would still feel shorter. It might feel more awkward, but if there was a real sticking point, I could do it.
If you had two.
Actually, right here, you can see it, John, that relationship here.
You've got a 5-foot fence to the right of it, looking in from the road.
Right here, between the two, because there's a pool. There's a pool back here, and so the fence is actually on the back side of the, towards the back of the.
Elevation.
Yeah, yeah. You would still see it if you're looking at the front, which is the south. So that is there, but it's towards the back of the patio. This is also a patio too, by the way. It's a deck. It's not a deck. If it was a deck, then it would the zoning shed would count as ground cover, which.
Last question, all right, this is the,
That's like the corner of the house.
this is the south
Do you
elevation.
have any problem with
Yes.
sheds?
My question on it would be,
I think actually.
That's where this fence here,
If you, this fence here, John, is right here. If you want, I could actually take, I could take this and push it back, like, it's like probably 18 inches.
Matt, why don't you wait and see what the vote is?
Okay.
All right, can I have a motion?
I would say motion to approve as submitted.
All righty, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Everybody's in, Diane.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. There we go. That's John and then to Jessica. All right. Okay.
Who's the board on this one?
There's Cole, Coons, McLaughlin, Oliver, and Welch.
How many architects are working on this?
I actually have some drawings, if we could pass them out, that are a little more updated. They might help us visualize some of the walls. If it might be possible, I could pass them out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You just approved it.
Thank you.
You're slipping.
You worried?
You're slipping, old man.
So just for point of clarity, these completely replace the sound cars?
Correct.
With the exception of the
Of
locust?
the
Oh, you ditched these.
yeah,
So
just the full size and retain the previously approved, yeah.
So after we submitted to the, submitted, we made some subsequent changes based on your comments. So we can put that.
We already signed it.
Oh, I can tell already. Oh, I was just looking at the
last
Here. So, should I walk through the adjustments?
Before this one.
Yeah. We did study,
Yeah, you need me for the record.
oh yes, Bernice Waller, Wahler. So we did study the height of the wall that is in the front of the pergola area and incorporated some terraced walls and some berming of the grades so that we could try to mitigate some of the height of the wall that you were seeing in the last submission. So we adjusted the wall height to be flush with the adjacent wall, and then incorporated a cedar fence, board-on-board cedar fence in its place. We also modified the edge material to include an eased edge at the top nose of the steps to soften the material that's been pre-approved there. And then we adjusted a wall location off of the front porch to incorporate a ramp. And then we're offering clarification for the pool fence that is happening at the on the left side of the pool. So we also provided a on the second page, we provided a section of the cedar fence that we're proposing. 1x6 cedar boards, 6x6 cedar posts, and then a full section that shows you the relationship of the pergola to the main house structure and the guest house for reference.
Thank you.
Right here. Remember they had the built-in kitchen
Oh, yeah.
behind it? Right here. Right there.
And the pool fence over there.
In image provided. Is it that?
No, I think this is.
What's the glass pool fence?
Where are you
here.
going to use the glass pool fence?
The glass enclosure is up on the pool terrace, on the water side, on the rear of the property.
Look at the look where the pool is, and
Yep.
then look in the upper right-hand corner.
Okay.
So
And
just
you
that
see-
one section?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think, right?
right?
Correct.
Or is it the whole thing?
No,
No,
it's just that
it's-
little stretch that you
It's
see
just
there.
that section and the gate and the gated portion there. That would all be glass, that corner.
And the other is a mesh.
Correct. The mesh fence with the cedar post and black mesh fence. That
And where
would
does
be
it go?
hidden and planting. It's going to be touching, it connects up to the fieldstone wall that is around the pool terrace. And then, and it connects back into the fieldstone wall that is abutting the property line. Where the walls become less than 4 feet, then we need to incorporate the mesh fence to gain pool enclosure.
Yep.
I don't either.
You on this? You are on this. You ready? Comments?
Comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
I defer my time to our landscaping expert because I have a question on a lot of it that I do not understand.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And one of
because-
them, I want to make a question to him.
Yeah.
Is the wall locations and the height, are they satisfactory? Yeah, as the materials being used.
It's previously approved, most of these walls, the heights in terracing.
Yeah.
So yes, and they're using New England fieldstone. The one thing that we did have a problem with was the granite cap, but we went back and forth on that. I can't remember what the final answer was with that.
The granite cap is flush, I believe.
The only place where the granite cap is existing on top of the wall is where the pool terrace becomes flush with the top of the wall,
And the rest is natural.
and the rest is natural.
Yeah, that's how we approved it last time.
It's a 4-foot glass wall.
Yeah, it's a pool thing.
This came
Um,
way in.
Thanks, John. Stephen?
You mean to that, yeah.
Yeah.
Was there an actual change in the height, I'm sorry if I missed this, of the top of wall at the outdoor kitchen?
Yes, there is. It was reduced to elevation 21 from previously
It had to have been
24.5.
Yeah, okay. And that's reflected in the elevation?
That's right, where you see
Colored
now
elevation?
the wall is the front wall is now coming all the way across instead of stepping up where the cedar fence is located now.
Okay, and then you do have a jump up of 6 inches, I was just curious what that is. I didn't see it in the elevation.
For where?
Goes from 21 to 21.5.
Yes, there is a slight buildup. That's due to the structural slab being at 21. So it's capped with stone. It's going to end up being 21.5.
So that'll just transition at roughly the, where the porch columns start, left to right,
The
in your elevation?
pergola columns.
Yeah, there's a little line in the plan. If you see 21.5, and there's a line, and it cuts down to 21. Yeah, it's just in front of the pergola portion, which is where the structural slab is located.
Okay, that was my primary concern with the
Okay.
last one. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask a question again about, I'm sorry, about the pool fence?
Yes.
Do you want to, can you come up and show me?
I can, yes.
You want it on this one, Diane, or that's the old one?
That's the old one, but
Yeah.
it should be about the same.
So there's a pool fence located here that gains pool enclosure that would be inside planting. And there is I can see why you're having a trouble reading it.
That's the old
Oh,
one
this
though,
is the
right?
old one.
So here.
Yeah, thank you. There you go. That would help.
Here.
There's a pool enclosure here, and then there's a pool enclosure that tabs into the wall here and rounds around, and then tabs back into this wall where the wall becomes less than 4 feet high.
So what,
It's a new grant?
And it will all be
It's
in
like that.
planting
With a hammered edge.
over there?
over here.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
see
why
that.
do you have a
something
pool
more
in
like
here?
this.
We
Love
need
that.
to have full
Just in
enclosure
this
of
area.
the pool area. So to gain enclosure, we're using the house as a portion of enclosure, putting a gate, and then the porch railing, there'll be enclosure here, and then the cedar
Oh,
fence
yeah, it's
will be
all curb
enclosure.
stone.
Then we
Yeah,
basically
reclaimed
have
or whatever.
enclosure
Yeah.
all the
Wasn't
way
like a
up
big
until
fan
over
of it,
here,
but
where we just need a
kind of
short
rough
little
edges.
segment to gain enclosure here.
Of this.
Because this is all 4 feet, 4 feet,
Right.
until we
So
hop
much
back
more
up
appropriate.
to where we need it right there and
Okay,
there.
on this plan, just because I don't see it over there, this says it's a
Did I
rear.
already,
That's for the pool.
I already
That's
got you,
where
right?
the pool
Yeah,
is
I'll
going
go
to
back
be,
to it.
It's hanging in my mind.
dropping
I don't know,
down
what do you
4 feet
think?
in kind of a waterfall effect.
I agree with
Okay.
you.
Something
And, and.
I agree with you.
The,
Just, this whole
bar
project, I
is
wonder about the
elevated.
As opposed to the
visibility.
picture of the granite
Yes,
stuff.
it's seating height above
It's kind of
the
at the
pool
end of
terrace.
the road.
Yes.
Well, but
Won't you see those
So,
steps from this?
you won't see that from any of this stuff then.
Well, that's all
Like
gone.
that road,
Right.
I think this is the
But
last
it's-
house
it's
on the
the-
road.
It is the
It
same.
It doesn't really
thing.
even feel
But
like a
yes, you
road.
wouldn't
Once
see
you
any of that
cross
from the-
past that,
from the outside.
public
From that.
access, it feels like a driveway. It technically is a
Well,
road. and
thank
I
you.
think
You're
It
welcome.
was a
they're all
little
gonna try to
Thank you.
buy it, although it's
difficult to understand.
like so complicated. They don't
Oh, it's very
by a road.
burn.
Can be. Okay, so Diane, do you have further questions or?
No, it's just, it's an unusual pool fence.
Yeah,
That's the old one.
but you're
I just
okay at the end of
Wanted
the
to be
day?
sure that we understood it. It's a
Should we write on here?
a no-edge infinity pool.
Yes. So, Val, would you like to?
Nope, I'm good.
You're good. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Stephen just because he had a comment about the steps that you
Yes.
weren't privy to. Would you like to repeat that?
Yeah, I think looking at the steps, my comment stands that I think that they're too formal, the honed flush top granite. However, it is one person's opinion. I just see it as, although this may not be a terribly visible location, it is visible from the public way, and it is an opportunity to kind of keep, the entrance is one of the primary statements of a structure, and it is a chance to kind of keep it looking older Nantucket if it were not a finely polished top.
The tops on those are thermal. Would a thermal top be acceptable? Or,
You mean the tops on the picture are thermal?
Yeah.
I mean, the picture may be looking more honed, but you wouldn't use honed on a landscape because the friction coefficient would be too slippery.
Well, he was actually, he pulled up a picture of some old granite curbstones. I'm sure you've seen those used as steps before. Which
Yes.
your edging is calling for reclaimed granite edging, so.
Sometimes we get into difficulty when we're using the reclaimed curbing as the steps because the step risers want to be dictated mathematically for slopes and in conditions of grade, and then we are pinned into what is the product allow us to have as a riser height. You know, they vary a lot in terms of how much play you get out of that when you lay them on the side.
Right, if it's not machined, it's gotta be man-hammered, and if it's not
Yeah.
man-hammered.
Sometimes you lose a little bit of the character that you were trying to maintain when you're manipulating them to work for your
I just ask that you keep it in mind. I think it's not something I'm gonna vote no based on it, but I do wanna have that in the record.
So it sounds like everybody's generally satisfied with these revisions. Would I, if so, could I have a motion?
Motion to approve as submitted.
Very good. All those in favor of Diane's motion?
Aye.
Thanks. John, by the way, so, you know, there's old sets, new sets.
Oh, so the motion was to accept what was accepted at the table?
I just
Yeah.
wrote on mine the date, well, circled the date, and it was received at meeting.
Okay, that's great, thanks.
So do you want the minutes to reflect that it's set, received at the table?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Can we write on
And they're
Exhibit
dated
A?
as 6/5.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. Tell Joe that Jesse said hi.
I will. Okay.
Jesse, can you pass me that?
Read me out the agenda. She's like, is that Jesse Butcher?
Huh?
Or she saw your name on the agenda. She was questioning if it was Jesse Butcher.
Not
No,
the
just
Jesse
on like,
Butcher.
list of commissioners.
Oh. Gotcha, sorry.
Not
enough coffee today. As well.
Spring fever.
Hand that one back.
Oh,
I'm having difficulty articulating
Thank you.
complex words or like searching for words.
Yeah, I don't know, something in the air. All that grime pollen.
It's the best cottage. I don't know. I'm worried I can't work as much.
Is this Diane?
This is still your Shimmer Pond, this is the revisions.
Right.
So, and then Diane is on Heasley. Okay, so this is that guest house, same project. I would assume that it's the same board. And so, we had a few things we were looking for.
Sure.
On this.
I
think it was minimal, wasn't it?
Changes, Mr. Chair. So on A2.4, all the elevations are there. I guess probably drawing 2 would probably be the best place to start. Previously, the lower pent roof covering the garage, the brackets did match. One was a straight 45 and one had a curve, so we've matched those. And there was some comments from the board that the dimensions of basically the header beam in combination with the bracket were, they were just looking kind of like a little bit of a layer cake effect, and so, which is an accurate comment. So we went back and reduced the scale of all those members. It's a little deceiving to look at it from the side because there's so many things happening there. But the brackets themselves, I think, we'll read as independent elements. But having said that, we did reduce everything per your comments. On the east elevation, we added a post as requested. The one thing that we didn't do, but I can easily do, Mr. Chair, was on the second floor deck on the east elevation, we did not pull that back. We had intended to pull that back by at least 3 feet, and that is not reflected in the drawings, but I would
Well, I'd love that to death if you
Yeah.
did pull it back.
Yeah,
3 feet.
we were-
I really feel like it's overwhelming.
I totally agree. I just missed it. We had planned to do that, but I did not. It's not reflective, but I would do it certainly. But those are all the changes. Mr. Chair.
Okay, thanks. How about you, Val?
Thank you for the changes. If you can cut that deck back, great. I have a question though, for my fellow commissioners on the south. The way that the wall curves out past the roof. Does that look weird to anybody?
Are we on the second floor?
So I'm on number 2 on A2.4.
Yeah,
South elevation.
yes. When you say the wall,
The wall of the round deck,
right.
where it falls on the roof, is sort of halfway down the slope. Is that? I mean, maybe it doesn't even bother anybody. It just seems a little strange to me.
You're talking about the second floor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The deck?
The deck here,
When
see
you
how
pull
it
that,
extends out beyond
yeah,
the...
when you pull that back, because it's a curve, Matt, is that going to come in on the sides left to right?
It should.
I mean, I don't even mind this. I'd rather have you pull it back
Oh,
that way.
that side.
Yeah.
I got you. I could shrink it. I mean, it's funny because I think you're gonna have an amazing view from there, but the owner's like not as concerned.
It may not be anything anyone else has a current
I don't mind
concern
shrinking the
with.
width of
I-
it though. If you
Would
want
we
to pull
see it on the south?
do you see it on the south?
Maybe 2 feet each direction, so
Oh,
2
oh,
feet
I
in and
did
2
too.
feet from the left and the right.
Yeah.
Anything in any dimension would be an improvement.
I would pull. How about if I pull it in a foot on either side?
So that's
I
2
think that'd be
feet.
better.
Yeah.
Right, so 2 feet left to right and 2 feet front to back versus 3 feet.
That's fine. Yeah. That's fine.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further comments on this, John?
Yes. The bracket design should be 45 and not curved arcs like that. It's not typical for the ones that are existing on the island.
That's right.
What do you say, boss?
I would.
Is any,
The only reason I would ask to keep them is that there is a theme of radial elements on the main house and this house, and I just felt that the radius arch was like more elegant and less.
Not good enough.
Huh?
Not good enough. I don't like that explanation. You
No.
had nice square ones. You had nice square ones up here.
I support the radial. I like the
You
argument.
like the radial?
It's flowy.
Yeah, I mean I think it's softer. I know it's not very technical, but
He's tearing apart the board.
Asunder. Ripping us
Yeah.
asunder.
I mean if
Falling
that's
apart at the seams.
if that's the
Were you serious or are you being facetious?
Actually, I was.
Now you changed your mind.
I was not being serious, and then I looked down and I saw the real 45 thing, and I said, "Actually, looks nicer than the other ones." You know, it's. I don't know. It's got a better proportion. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
on the low. In the
It's
previous
like one of
we had
these,
it drawn
you know,
at the 45.
It was like the second iteration. You know?
Again, if it's the pleasure of the board, I would change it. But
Well,
if you ask
not,
my opinion, I would,
okay,
you know.
it isn't necessarily. We can find out. Yes, sir.
Also, if you go to the previous approved north elevation, you'll see on the left side down below, it's a 45, and the one on the right side is.
Yeah.
Change that.
That's the one
Because
we
they had a
saw.
layer cake effect.
Okay.
I'm fine either way.
Somebody make a motion. We'll see where it goes.
I'll make a motion to approve as submitted, subject to revisions for staff to adjust the second floor deck 2 feet in from the
West and east.
west and east and 2 feet from the north and south.
Okay. All those in
The
favor?
brackets, no decision by the board?
Well,
There's got to be a
Hang on.
decision right now.
he's
Yeah.
okay.
I want to hear them.
Yeah.
All those in favor of Stephen's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Are the brackets included on that or not?
The
No,
brackets as submitted.
Brackets where I submitted. And I'm going to abstain. But you got it. Got your
I'll
three
take
votes.
it. Thank you.
Now we're less of a team than we were in that.
What was the final vote on that?
Well, so John,
John's a no, I
John,
think.
were you yes, no, or abstain on that vote?
No.
You were no.
No,
Okay.
you
So
were
3
no.
in favor, 1 abstention, 1 no.
Really?
On that big
What do you
huge
want me to say,
honking house,
Mike?
it's so minimal, nobody's gonna even notice.
You don't want to hear it.
Okay, so next one I'm recusing from. I'm gonna get myself some water.
Who's on this one?
Like battery.
116 Pulpus. I don't know if I don't think
On here?
No, I was talking about it earlier last week.
I'm not.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think we had should have.
I wasn't here.
Coombs, McLaughlin, Oliver.
What you doing? Nothing
Oh,
right now.
I was here.
I'm not driving you anywhere, including to the bus or the store or
What am I doing? I don't want to do it anyway.
So wrong.
Focus.
For voting for some brackets that are curved. Get out of here. Out of your mind.
This one is just John, Diane, and myself.
What does that have to do with it?
Really?
So he needs to pay attention.
He's already been giving me a ration about those curved arches. Or the curved brackets.
No.
Yes, John, I know you're a font of wisdom.
I'm a newcomer.
All right, this is a 116 Focus Drive,
Was there any?
Yes.
and you are
That landscape one.
You are
Nice try.
Well, we just approved this
Oh, yeah.
straight on, right?
I almost got you.
All right, is that?
Thank
So
you.
let us know what we need to know.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. So, on A2.1, you requested that the transom lights on the front door be more vertical. They were too squat previously.
Oh, they're square, honey.
Hardscape.
Yeah, they were more horizontal.
We voted yes.
So we increased the height,
Thank
which
you.
is what I talked about before. We changed, removed pretty much all the casements. John, anywhere we had casements, we changed it to a double hung. Just for reference, the, I don't know if we want to call it a gazebo or the secondary structure that's shown on the south elevation, the reason it actually was shown as being included is they're connected by a deck. I think that for the sake of permitting, they'll be considered separate structures, but that's why it was shown. But again, we've talked about the stone, even though it's not part of the application, but it's just still on there. I thought it was important. Those were the primary changes that we were asked to make. So that is it, Madam Chair.
All right.
Did you move it back, Matt?
The house?
No, the chimney in that gazebo structure.
Not.
Didn't we ask to move that back?
Well, that would, I believe it's going to be under a separate
Okay.
landscape application,
Okay.
so I didn't touch it, or the
Okay.
stone for that matter. But we did talk about the stone that we wanted, which is not
Okay.
necessarily what's shown here, which is like a default for the software.
Small things. So you begin.
Thank you for the changes. I still can't wrap my brain around the front door, but I'd like to see no transom on top of it. I think there's plenty of light with the door the way it is. However, having said that, this is 300 feet off the road, and I don't think we're going to see it. So if I was going to approve it, I would base that on lack of visibility.
Or maybe limited visibility.
I don't think it's a lack.
I don't know, just when
No.
John inspects.
Because it goes, he can stand here, and it goes,
Oh, right. Gotcha.
so,
He's got to see it open the
Hang on.
trees and everything else.
then I would.
I'm not
say-
on this, but like, this will be visible from Pulpus Road.
Right, I'm
It
just
will?
not,
It's not going to be completely, no.
I'm just thinking, I guess what I'm just trying to point out is that, if you were to,
You
if
wouldn't
it
argue.
got
I
to
gotcha.
motion,
You can
limited
see-
might be.
Gotcha, limited, because it's
Not
under
put him in
the,
a-
You don't
yeah.
see
right.
the existing house. do
Yeah,
you?
but the existing house is one story.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't think so, but I'd take Ray's word for it.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you tie it into lack of visibility, that may be a problem.
I think limited
Limited is a better term.
Why don't we
It's-
just take it off?
The
It's
tree
more
would just
like,
take it out, or you can just take it out.
You do that too. And it's more like 500 feet
Yes, I
from the
did do
road.
that.
Wow.
Well, it says it's on.
It is pretty far away from the
You
street.
got anything else you want to
No, nope,
say?
nope. It's a nice looking house.
Johnny, have you got something you'd like to say?
Yes,
Okay.
I've never seen the design that's here for the transom, the way it's broken
Which
up.
reminds me to listen to the thing.
The transom,
I can't think of another one on this island that's got 4 lights like that across it. It should be all one big unit without the small windows.
We agree on it.
What?
You and
Yeah.
I agree on that.
You guys agree on everything.
Because there's so much
It
alike.
might be visible.
I said I agree with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just said that. Take it out.
You one more, we can rule the world.
what do you think about removing it?
If it's a pleasure of the board, I would do it. I may come back and ask for it when the house is framed.
That's
To
acceptable.
deter, to
Yeah.
demonstrate the lack of visibility.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything else, John?
Yeah. Big set of plans.
Yeah, we removed all the casements though.
Years ago, we used to have it put on a piece of tracing paper, just a section, bring it in, because you can see through it.
The good old days.
That's right.
They don't even make that stuff.
So, can I get a motion to approve?
I would motion to approve omitting the transom on the south, and he can come back in for that once he's framing.
right?
So there's
Everybody
no
in favor?
prejudice.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
I would motion to approve omitting the transom on the south without prejudice, and he can come back in when the building is framed, and if we can't see it, then he can have it.
Sounds good. Or if it's limited visibility.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright. Depends. No, stop it, please. We'll be in the fall.
Thank you.
I'll be back in the fall.
You're gonna have to write that.
I got it written down here.
Alright.
Says, omit some transom or other.
Yeah.
Move the motion?
Yeah, we've
Yep.
moved and approved and
Took it off, John.
took it off. We took it off
We took it off.
I know.
for now. For the moment.
It's the only thing you got left. is
Okay.
the moment.
That's right, John. And wiser than you look.
Whenever you're ready, Madam Chair, I can start.
He's been giving me heat all night long. I'm giving.
Okay.
Moment comes, look out.
So, Madam Chair, Stephen was on both of these.
Okay, well, he got,
Comments.
Yeah, I know. She never calls on me anyways. Don't worry about it.
he just interrupts, so it doesn't matter.
That's how you got to do it around here.
Was that comment vis-a-vis this application, this Quint Street, or?
No,
This
this
is for
is
Pulpus Road.
Pulpus Road, the garage and tertiary building. We
Oh,
next.
right, yeah, but, okay,
He
sorry.
was also on the new dwelling, it just wasn't reflected on the.
You could say he interrupts like I do.
Yes, I could.
Because you do too.
We're looking at the tertiary now.
Okay.
It looks very nice.
I can run through the changes whenever the board's ready.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. So on A4, which is the east elevation, those are primary ones, the changes are made. We changed the transoms to be 2 lights, which we thought were more conducive to the primary mast fenestration, specifically the C-type. And secondarily, we changed the roof pitch, which is shown as A5, which is the south elevation. The previous iteration had a slightly different pitch.
Very shallow pitch.
Yeah, the intent was to try and create a break, but I agree that from the south, it's better. One other minor change, I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't love it when the shingles step down. I like the idea specifically of maintaining that horizontal delineation between the shingle and the parged foundation wall, so we just carry that around the corner.
What color is it gonna be?
The parging will just be gray, natural parge color, I guess.
Yeah.
Actually, it
I
makes the
agree,
building
yeah.
cut off better.
It actually makes it look shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stepping thing drives
Less
me nuts.
complicated.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts. And then on this, on the west elevation, it's mostly doors and pent roof. And it's just stronger.
You good with it?
Those are the changes, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
You good?
He's got those 45-degree angle brackets, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to see the arch.
Okay, you may start, please.
I think it's appropriate, and when we're ready, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Okay. Johnny, you got anything to say?
No.
No, never.
Fine.
Okay, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve is submitted.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And 2 other ayes.
Aye and aye.
The arch would look funny on us.
Yeah.
Out of place. Quince.
There you go.
Thank you.
So this is yours now, it's not mine.
I don't know. Who's on this one? Quint.
This is Paul, Coombs, McLaughlin, Oliver, and Welch.
Paul, Coombs, McLaughlin, Oliver, and Welch. Got it.
Thank you.
That was supposed to go with it.
I guess TJ doesn't want to show up anymore.
Oh, right, this is gonna, I got
Oh, yeah.
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 Yeah. I can actually
Just the one
provide a little bit more
picture.
background, Mr. Chair, if you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
So this was a landscape plan that was given to us to submit, and previously the board had requested some additional drawings and material, and at the time of the submission, this is what we were given. When we reviewed it, we said, we're going to need a little bit more, and so they've provided us these packets which provide details of the fencing and a couple of sketch renderings for supplemental material. The first page just shows a kind of a quick sketch of the arbor that will be and then
Is this that's the one of the
that's the
big
5 and
fence,
1.
right?
Yeah. And then, so we asked them to provide some additional drawings. On the second page, you'll see the details. But they're basically, it's an arbor and then a gate, and then vegetation between the two. And the 5 and 1, which I think we changed, it looked like it was a 4 and 2.
Right.
Which the photograph shows, but the drawings, we plan to change that to a 5 and 1. So hopefully
You are going to go with a 5 and 1?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And that detail is on that second sheet.
Yeah.
Its dimensions.
This looks like a 5 and 2, am I correct?
That photograph, John, is deceiving, and it probably is 4 feet and 2 feet of lattice, but that is not what we're looking to do. That was the previous submission.
John, this little supplemental sheet that he handed out, there's the detail of the fence. It's 5 and 1.
It is 5 foot and 1 foot 6. Okay.
It goes all
Okay.
the way from the house?
No, it starts there, the 6 and 1. This is the little short.
Hey, one thing that's still not clear.
An arbor.
Right.
Remember we talked about whether this arbor has a depth to it, like the photograph? So they provided this elevation of the arbor, which is fine. It clarifies about the boards. What it doesn't show, and what the site plan does not show,
The depth.
Yeah, so is it just a one-dimensional arbor, or does it actually go back?
It should go back.
Okay, so someplace back there, we're gonna see another set of posts.
I mean, I would anticipate it being similar depth to the photograph.
Yeah, and I'm gonna guess that it's going back into.
It's going back toward the steps.
Right,
Yeah.
as opposed to projecting out into the driveway, which wouldn't make any sense.
With the gate on the same plane as the gate to the right of it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
What about making that arbor? Is it a necessity to use the bottom part? We couldn't go straight across?
Instead of the curve?
Yeah. So it sort of matches the fence right next to it and everything else, which is squared off.
I suppose, it might
But
look,
it's just a thought.
yeah, it might look, actually, believe it or not, it might look, make the arbor look strange.
So on either side of this is not going to be fence, it's just hedge.
Yeah.
So it's hedge, and then this little.
So the interesting thing about it, Matt, is the way that it's gonna look in the elevation is the gate to the right is almost gonna look like a set of fence. And then the
Yeah.
arbor looks like a gate. So given that, I don't really have as much a concern about the shape of the gate in the arbor.
okay. Both of those are boards, right?
Yes.
Both the arbor gate and the gate are both just boards laid up, it would appear.
Well, on the picture, it's got like points.
No, well, okay, so that was the problem, because we were critical of that last time this was heard, which is why they came in and provided that drawing.
So we're not approving the pictures, we're
We're not
photographs.
approving the pictures, and we should be clear on that with the approval.
I apologize for the lack of clarity to try to help out the landscaper.
Okay, well, that's nice of you. Any questions, comments, folks?
Well, we can describe the 5 and 1 now as, instead of the 4 and 6 or 5 and 2, as the 5 and 1, and the top to be square.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so exhibit
Square lattice,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than,
Yep, we got that.
Can the curve in the arbor come down so that it has some relationship to the 3'6" fence?
Sure, I could have the bottom of the lowest portion of the radius to be in line with the
Yeah, I
fence.
think if something lines up,
Yeah,
it's
that's a good
gonna
idea.
be perceived differently.
Okay.
And
can we trust you to do that?
well, you could. I mean, I was going to suggest through staff drawings, and we can
Yeah.
also provide the depth, which is not shown there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So can I have a motion, somebody?
Motion to approve with the curve in the arbor lining up with the height of the adjacent fence.
Mm-hmm.
And some depth to be provided on the survey plan showing that.
Of the arbor.
And
Yeah.
everything saying 5 and 1 as opposed to 5 and 2.
Or 4 and 2,
Or-
which is what the photo indicates.
So 5 and 1, so get rid of all those other pictures and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Okay, that's the motion, right?
Yeah.
All those in favor of Val's motion, aye.
Thank you.
Where's what?
Where's the other one?
I don't know.
Meadow Lane.
I thought you were asking if there was another one.
I have pictures of all of them.
Oh, really?
Okay, let's.
All right.
I only have enough ink for one more approval.
Uh-oh.
I'm thinking I gotta save it for Joe.
Is this a house and a
No,
shed?
keep that.
Are we looking at the
I think I
shed
can
first?
eke out a couple more
No,
signatures.
it should be
Okay.
This is Coombs, McLaughlin, and Dutra.
No,
Coombs, McLaughlin, Dutra, here you go.
the house got approved
Yes.
with the
Well,
skinny trim?
Take it, please, and
She's
take
saying,
it
right?
by the box.
Yeah.
Check out the name. You're alone.
That was our issue, was just in this weirdo thing.
yeah, you,
I'm not on
Like
it,
farting through silk.
but I remember that from the house,
I know.
yes.
There's enough of that going on around here.
Pat Tate is here too, so we have to add him back in.
so what do we say? It's
Let's bring it back to
6:39.
that.
Definitely by 7.
Yeah. Or 10 minutes, so.
Well, you got one new business too, just see.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Emeritus.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So this is we're at the guest house? Yes. So, let me see here. We actually completely changed the design of the guest house. It was primarily a function of its location. In the previous submission, it was actually at the very end of the pool. And now it's basically tucked behind the rear L of the structure. That's why, so you've really never seen it before. All the details do match the main dwelling. And everyone's try to keep it fairly simple and straightforward.
Should we pass that skinny trim?
Did you pass the skinny trim? Yes. On the windows and doors?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a kind of a thicker plank,
wow.
thicker plank frame.
Okay, so this is Jesse?
Okay. So it's relocated, it was behind the pool and now it's behind the house.
Correct.
Right.
The building itself, has that changed much from?
Yeah, it's completely redesigned. When it was
I wrote it.
rotated 90 degrees, there was a gable forward with a secondary additive mast to the right, and all the details match, but in this scenario, the clients have elected to shift it behind the main dwelling, keep it simpler, not draw too much attention to it, and so that, but when you're both in the house or in the pool, that it opens up to the yard space beyond and towards, there's a wetland towards the back of the property. We can only obviously clear up to between the 25 and 50, but the idea is to try and open up the vista towards that backyard area.
One thing that kind of jumps out at me is that pent roof and those brackets that come off it. Is that what is that material of?
That's cedar, and the brackets are actually cable. And we actually do have one of those on the main house on the same facade. Reason being visibility. There's no access or public ways back there. It's just what I'm referring to as like a brise soleil, which is just kind of filtered. It's a light filter, if you will.
So, being that you have one on the other house and this one's even further back, I'm not concerned necessarily about that, but I'd be interested to hear what the rest of the board has to say. Nothing, looks good to me.
Okay, what, is John on it, or you on?
I don't think I am, but I do have a question.
Okay, you may certainly ask your question.
May I? Matt, what are you thinking that west elevation, the dormers there, you're gonna need it's gonna be hard to shingle that.
I don't know, maybe a palm nailer, maybe?
Yeah. Maybe a sheet of all weatherboard in there.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't disagree. We had it as one larger dormer, but it looks nice. Yeah. I'm not trying to torpedo it. I kind of jumped out at me. Yeah, that'll be it.
But you guys worked that out. That's not us.
Contractor.
Yes, shingle it before you put the windows.
Yeah.
Sit on them. Lean out. Johnny, do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yes, one thing. Well, you have 3 casement windows. Right.
I could change them to double hungs. I don't see why.
I'm sorry?
I could change them to double hungs there with a sink. But the idea.
The sea windows?
Yes.
Yeah, they're on the first floor. First floor.
Would you want to have them double hung?
East elevation.
Yep.
The only reason that, if I could, Madam Chair, is lifting a double hung over
I know, I
sink
have
could
one
be like-
myself. I have to get my grandsons to do it.
Yeah, it's very not nice. So
The cantilever is hard.
That's pretty far back.
Some house might be able to see it, but I don't. As you come down Meadow Lane that you are going to see that way back there.
It is a home. I was questioning the front door.
The front door on
Front
the.
door, which is on the east elevation, I assume.
I think it's on the east elevation or the south?
it's.
No, that door goes to mechanical.
Yeah, that would be a mechanical access.
Sliding door is the front door.
I would say it's hard to determine where the front door would be in a house structure like this.
You want it on the east elevation?
Where would I say the east? The front door?
Yeah.
I mean, in a structure like this, where it's an ancillary structure, on the property, it doesn't really engage a street or a public way. In which case, I would say that the front door and the facade is really critical. I would say that there's two elevations or front elevations, if you will. There's both the south and the west. Neither of those I would characterize as a traditional, front door.
Well, you have a door on the east.
Yeah, we have them on both west and south, and the east is, as John pointed out, it's an access to a mechanical area underneath the stairs.
So
if you wanted to call that the front door, you could, but it doesn't really lead to inside the house. It leads to mechanical.
Well, if you came down and you were parking and you were going to stay at the guest house, what's the
I'd probably
easiest
go on the
way?
west elevation.
Right. Because that's up against the property line.
Right, so.
Or you could go east. You could go east. I'm sorry, south or west. But again, you would be on the property, at the pool, walk through like a patio. It's almost, in many ways, like a bungalow or a pool house.
Yeah, we've seen pool houses.
Mr. Chairman.
So.
I had a question on the what kind of bracket is holding the roof up here? It looks like it's got a solid cast iron or?
It's a cable, steel cable.
So that got approved on the main house?
On the big house, it did.
We had one in the main house.
Think it's appropriate?
I would say, design-wise, I think it's appropriate. I know that it's not something you see very often, but I would submit to you that these elevations are not visible.
The south elevation would be, I think, road. All depends with the house block.
Right. I mean, the south is a more traditional roof covering with French doors.
So, we need to think whether we want to keep the door on the east as a door, nobody knows has to know where it goes, or do you want to put it on the west?
What type of door are we talking?
Thing that makes it like a front door, or we could use these are sliders, right?
Yeah, they are.
On
They
the
are.
west?
Yeah. I mean, the intent is that it's an ancillary pool house structure.
Right.
But if in order to make people sleep, allow people.
No,
to
if they
sleep
know
there.
come up and it's a guest house and whatever, fine, so
Well,
can
you can't access the structure. You can't drive up to the structure. You have to walk
around?
through the house. You have to either go in the house or through like a side fence, or et cetera, et cetera. So,
All right, well, could I get a motion to then approve as submitted with the pent roof held up by gables, approved due to lack of visibility?
Very strange thing.
So move.
Okay, all those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye.
It's like being at a movie theater.
So it is approved.
all right. Thank you.
Can't wait for people to come in for those.
As long as they don't see it.
It's just a square thing held up with cables. It's not even a roof. It's gonna be a. Does it have lights in it?
So, it's just no lights.
It's flat. It's got a flat roof.
No, it's actually got it's like a pergola.
Pergola, as opposed to having ground supports, it's hung with what are you gonna have, like a cable structure system from above, angled out. I remember this. Yeah.
So on the shed, have you changed anything?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
It's in front of the house. Am I on this?
I was just tracking.
I was just tracking.
It's in front of the house.
I tell you about eating fruits and vegetables.
People.
Who is it, Jesse and Donnie and me?
Yep.
If it's been tracking,
No, Steve? That goes down to him.
You know, one of the things I said I was going to do is show you either a perspective of this relationship. So if you wanted to see that, I could hold this and get that for you. If you think it would be helpful.
You're gonna drive down and see that, right?
Yeah.
And I also want to show you photographs of the tree.
Oh, this is the tree we're saving.
Mm-hmm. It's a nice tree. It's not a town tree, but it's glorious.
So is there any other, I can't remember any other stuff growing to soften the shed being right there in the front?
You know what? I think a couple things. I think that there's a landscape plan that is imminent within days, and then I think I'd love to maybe come back with that, some photographs of the tree.
Okay.
And maybe even like a linear perspective, just to show you the relationship of the two structures.
All right, so we can hold it. Make a
And this
motion to
has a
hold.
different house on it, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Val. Actually, so
Yeah.
we had submitted this originally. That is where the original guest house was. So I think that'll be helpful, I think.
Okay, so can I get a motion to hold number 14 for further information?
Hello? I can't
so
make
moved.
it.
Sorry.
Aye. John?
Yes.
We're making a motion to hold number 14 for further information?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
See you, Matt. Joseph.
He was for Francis Street.
Come on up.
Sure.
Stevie.
Stick to it.
Hey, Pat.
This was good work.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, you did a nice job.
Laying low.
No, really nice job.
Hey,
Art.
no way.
Advisor.
You rock, Pat.
Think so?
This has not been heard.
No,
correct.
no.
Nope.
Okay, so this is gonna be the one instance tonight where, which one of you two is gonna be the associate on this? What rotation do we have?
Yeah, I'll go. Thank you.
You're on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, HSAP, 5 Francis, of course, we know what they're gonna say. All lines and conduit must not be visible. See front porch photo. Application intention is appropriate. Did you put in an application or something?
I was asked to.
Okay.
It's actually, the system was put in a few years ago. And you guys informed the homeowners that it's not appropriate, so we just want to make it appropriate.
Great. Okay, so I'm searching for the application here.
Tell us what you're gonna do, Pat.
Yeah, that's probably.
Majority of the lines that you see on the shingles right now will either be buried in the walls from the inside or in the walls from the outside. Removing sheathing and shingles, and then whatever lines that we cannot get into to where the actual heat pumps are, will go horizontal at the shingle line, foundation shingle line to wherever the units are.
So everyone, thank you, Pat. There are a series of photographs at the back of this application, right? And the last 3 pages, we can start with the south elevation.
Yeah.
Okay. The way I read this is that the 2 conduits that are rendered now in sort of the greenish yellow
Mm-hmm.
says lines will be buried lines will be buried and lattice surround over heat pump.
Which
So
you
that's
gave us an example
Pretty,
of.
yes, I saw that earlier. So, but, okay, so those lines are gonna go away. And then you're just gonna put lattice around the actual unit.
There's another option though. I think I included a photograph on that same deck on the Francis Street side. There's another heat pump that's out of sight.
Yeah, he's gonna do
Because it's on the deck?
Yeah, and I asked the owners how they felt about
that.
Yeah, you can't.
Oh,
really see
oh,
it.
right there.
Yeah.
Wow, you can't see it.
So I was thinking on the other end of that deck,
Uh-huh.
'cause they don't use that entry at all, that we do the same type of enclosure and possibly take that one right off the front of the house.
That'd be
instead of-
fabulous.
So I'm just waiting for them to tell me whether they're gonna go for that, but they don't use that front entry at all.
Okay.
I
mean,
think-
I'd
And
rather
that's,
see
that you would be talking about
Yes.
that little, it would just
Yep.
swing around
Yep.
the corner. Okay.
And then what, bring your line sets in through horizontally down at the floor joist and come up in the interior of the walls or something?
We could there because there is a basement in that area.
Might make it easier for you.
Yep.
On that particular.
Yep, on that elevation. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the south elevation, and now we have the next picture is north and west. And there's no text here, but I would imagine, Pat, that because you're rendering those same lines as the greenish thing, are they just going to get buried?
Yeah, what's horizontal will probably have to be down at the bottom of the shingle course, but the verticals can certainly go in the wall.
Down here?
Yes.
Oh.
But they still will disappear, right?
Yes.
Well, so Diane, what Pat's saying is that guy is going to come down here.
And if it can just be gray, or
Yeah, I think
would
right
we
now
have
it's
it?
white.
Cedar, yeah.
Cedar box.
Maybe a cedar box below the
I think
the shingle.
what he's proposing is perfect. This is
Yeah, I
exactly
mean,
what
this
we
is
want to see.
Dynamite.
Pat, what about that high flyer on the west, that end gable on the left? Is it not highlighted because it's not gonna change, or is that not highlighted because?
Where
it just
are you?
didn't get-
The top.
The top, it's really one of the more visible
Which
ones.
picture are you looking at?
The west and the north that you were just on.
I probably just didn't see that when I was highlighting.
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's talking
Yeah,
about
I probably
that
just
right there.
didn't see it when I was
Just for
highlighting.
clarity when we're going through it.
No,
Okay.
that would get buried.
Okay.
He's basically saying everything will
Yeah,
be buried
I mean,
that's
that's-
vertical, and the horizontals will go down to the shingle line,
This is
and he'll encase
fantastic.
them in cedar.
Okay.
That sounds great.
Move the units.
Anybody possibly object to this?
No.
Okay.
The only suggestion I would have
Yeah.
is, I know it's atypical, but to the extent it's visible from the street, it might be beneficial because we can point to this as an example. Where if you were to create the horizontal element for the cedar to hide the line set, is you kind of do it like a water table that's extended out a little bit with a little angled piece at the top. So, you want to build that out and that would be flat holding water. But if it comes out for the line set and it has a small piece at the top that's on an angle, but just so that I guess the point is that
It looks like a design element.
yeah, it looks like it was designed in the original and it goes the full length of that visible facade so that if we point to it, I think it would look nice and appropriate. And also if we point to it, it's not small segments around the house.
No, that sounds fine.
And only where it's visible from the street.
Yep.
Or a public way.
Perfect.
Okay.
Good idea.
John, any further comment?
Yes, I think it's a very highly traveled area
Yeah, yeah.
on both streets.
Yep.
you know?
Does he understand it's
And-
changing?
If you box that in,
John, all those lines that he's showing green like that,
They're gone.
going inside the building. You're not going to see them at all.
all right,
He doesn't have to box them out.
okay, now I'm going to where the air conditioner is.
Okay, so he's going to see the porch right to the,
Yeah.
He's going to move
You
that.
can do this
Yeah.
or this.
Then you got one down in the back too.
Either one,
Over Main Street.
either way is
That's
good.
the one. That one will be
Yeah, I
like
don't know
that.
what you heard about. Either one of those solutions. are
Okay.
If they
Your
don't want
baby,
to
not
go on the
mine.
porch, just do it.
My baby. We're just all trying to clean up and
Okay, I think we got it. Thanks a lot, Pat. Thank your owner
Yep.
for
Motion
us.
to approve the mitigation per the application, as it's submitted.
Going on the application. All those in favor of Val's motion?
But with one caveat,
Sure.
he can choose whether or not to lattice the unit or put it inside the railing of the deck.
Very good.
that's
Right.
good.
what do you call that, AC unit?
All those in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We do not have a set policy yet for them.
We're about to.
Thank you, Pat.
This?
Thank you.
We're about to.
Don't start with me. I'm not gonna get up and walk out on you, but I'm just saying.
So, okay, since we don't have oh, okay, so John's abstaining from that, but hi, Joe.
Thank you.
That's exactly what we wanted to happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
I couldn't.
It's the most
that
egregious
was-
one I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was the poster child.
And it was the most pleasant it could have been.
He was sitting in the room with the Builders Association when you brought it up.
Oh, was he? Good.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that worked.
But he didn't do it. The AC got put in after he finished the job. So.
I think he started the ball rolling with it tonight, so.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
This is Paul, Coombs, McLaughlin, Oliver, and Welch.
So I want to apologize for the last time I wasn't there. It's a school thing, but I do know there was a little bit of confusion with the site plans not being.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was the height of the. It
Well,
was
that's that, but there was a landscape.
It was the distance
Separation,
between these two,
Yes.
too, Joe.
Well, there was, what was missed is that there are 6x6s here and here, so the lattice, the pergola is not connected to the shed. That was
Well, that wasn't really the thing, but maybe you've already rectified this, but it seemed like that they're, on this site plan,
Yeah, it's fixed.
it's fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason, this was reading as a
deck.
one dimension, and then this was like way out here. And
Yeah.
It looked much longer on this
Right.
one.
That's
Okay.
where the landscape architect didn't kind of get the program, so we removed her and I did the drawings.
But it's actually the way that we preferred it, which was closer to the less pergola and closer proximity between.
Actually, it is still different.
You think
If
so?
the pergola rafters there's 4 in the drawing labeled proposed first floor plan.
And there's 5.
And there's 5 in the site plan. And it's not, it's just
So, yeah, what I'm working with is, and Ray will probably understand this, and Val, the CAD plans from Huntington, I can't 3D model them, so, and their drawings aren't 100% accurate. But anyways, they'll be what is shown on the floor plan is the correct one.
So it is going to come across to the house.
You mean
Yeah.
the first floor
Yes.
plan, this trumps this?
Yeah. So this is going to come across.
So more importantly for me,
So we're going to
anyways, your proposed first plan tracks, your elevations track that.
Right.
Okay, that's,
So what I also did is you asked for, to make the shed a little bit wider, so I added 9 inches, which added some height. And then the back side, which I think is the east side, we want that fascia to come all the way, existing fascia from the porch roof along the kitchen and to tie into the shed. That's why that shed was so vertical.
okay, and then your section address the questions that were brought up about
Which
the
is,
retainage.
yes.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So the other question you had was the fence, and the fence is we're working in connection in at the same time with the abutter. So the 5-in-1 fence on the north side is on for him, along with they're splitting that fence cost and 7 trees.
Oh.
Maple. Yeah, it's this owner used to own that property, so they've been kind of working together.
Nice.
I have a different landscape plan, but sadly Friday I got a text from the landscape architect saying she's not doing any work on the plans, so I couldn't get that in there. I do have it if you guys want to look at it, and then it also addresses the retaining wall that I think you had a question about, and it gives topography and.
I think this is good enough for us to understand what's happening with the pergola, and I think that still has to be a separate application.
No, it is. It is.
Yeah.
But the one question I have is, do you think I get a verbal approval
You got people
on
working on
a
it?
retaining wall? Yeah, it's a retaining wall that's that one on the southern side of the property.
This is the pressure treated one?
Yes, it will go.
Okay.
Round.
Coming down the bank?
You know.
Yeah,
so-
and yes, go ahead. Greg.
All I was going to say, Joe, and I don't want to, it's not noticed, so we're not really supposed to be reviewing anything that's not noticed. And you have to file anyway.
It's in the queue. I just Friday, like I said, Friday afternoon, I got the text message, so I worked on it yesterday and did it, and I did talk to John.
I just floated out there. We did review the concept and we talked about it. And we were looking for clarity, and we are meeting Thursday. I don't know if it.
Are we meeting Thursday?
Thursday, and it's within 48 hours. You couldn't have reasonably anticipated it, so it could go on that agenda if you wanted.
On the Thursday's agenda?
Yeah.
It's not within 48 hours.
All right.
It's not within 48 hours?
No, that 48 hours was 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is within 48 hours.
No, it needs to be more than 48 hours.
You need to be more than 48 hours.
But we Rachel spoke to you on Monday.
If it's within 48 hours of the meeting, I think the way it's written up, isn't it say?
Yeah, it's not that.
I don't know, they used to do it at the planning board all the time. If you didn't know about it within 48 hours, you put it on the agenda, because if you knew about it within 48 hours, if you knew about it more than 48 hours in advance, it would be on the notice. So the only way you can put it on the agenda is if the chair could not reasonably know about it more than 48 hours before the meeting.
Yeah,
Because
but that's
otherwise,
like if there was a storm or something.
Yeah. This is a landscape architect saying I'm not doing another thing. Like
I got no horse
I'm
in the
not
race.
doing another
Just trying to-
Yeah, I can show you the text message. It was like at Friday afternoon. I'm like,
okay.
There's I think she had a falling out with the landscaper. So whatever happened there,
okay,
we'll and that's off the record.
But let's move back to this for a second. So does anybody, now that we have clarification on these things, does anybody have any comments
No.
they would like to share? Okay.
It was really just a question.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I also on that section it does show the retaining walls as they're going to be installed.
Yeah.
So they're all linked together.
And this is good.
It definitely helps to see that section of the retaining walls.
Yeah, so
Okay, so Joe, I think we can probably give you a verbal on the retaining wall, all right, since it is in these drawings.
Thank you.
I mean, does any, okay, and it's
No.
like less than 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any
you just
further
need to
discussion
put it
on
in
this
and
matter?
Yeah, I got it. I'll do it tomorrow morning.
Motion
No.
approved is submitted.
Thanks. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for listening.
Okay. So just submit that stuff and.
Yeah, I got it all.
Okay.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Joe. Okay, other Joe.
We got one more.
One more. Aye.
Hey, I like your watch.
It's a
Get out at a reasonable hour tonight.
Look at that.
That'd be
Wonder
nice.
how fast the heart's
I know,
going in
hopefully
my
Joe's not holding us up here with a big thing.
I hope not too. I'm hungry as well.
That's neat.
Oh, I know what this is. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Sophie's.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Sophie's. Suzy's.
No, Sophie Neff. So-
It's you know where Shady Lane is?
What number is this?
It's like, you don't enter off of Shady, right?
No, you don't. It's actually Cliff Lane. It's the it's the next left.
Property
It's the next
owner, I
left.
see it. 3 Cliff Lane.
It's new business, yeah. Just
Yeah, so Jesse, you're on this one.
So it's
If you don't mind.
that and the AC.
Okay, so these are a few things that John picked up on the, on the inspection. So right now, the AC units are like open to view, is that what it is?
Right.
So you know the drill on that one, okay? And the only other thing was that cap, right?
Yeah, it's that cap. So they changed from
wood burning chimney, wood burning fireplace to a gas insert, and the gas insert cap that they provided, it was just horrible looking. It was cheap looking, and so I had a custom lead coated copper one made.
Is that this one, Joe? The bigger
Yeah,
one?
it is.
Okay.
It is.
Rather than something like that?
Rather than,
Okay.
yeah, and there's a bunch of them I took pictures of up and down Cliff
These are
Road.
examples.
They're just really bad looking.
Oh, that is nasty.
And then there's this one, and this one off of, there's these black ones here off of Deacon's Way.
I don't like that with you.
So I just tried to do something that I thought looked a little bit better, but,
Then you could turn it and put it inside.
put it inside.
Was that,
I have a few of them.
That's all right.
I didn't hear what you said.
Would you turn it upside down?
Well,
Then it can't breathe.
it really wants to get the gases up and out, and the vents are there for the wind to blow that
Yeah.
the LP gas out. And the other thing that it does is it goes over the, so that's a skin chimney, you know what I mean? It's like a 1/4 inch. So the other part of that is weatherproofing the chimney, because it does it turns the ears down a little bit over around that.
Is the top of this thing open or just the sides? Is there a covering on it?
No, that's flat. It's covered. It's covered over the top. Yeah. For weather purposes. Yeah.
I'll go.
Go.
I think it's less conspicuous than the examples he gave us. I honestly think that after it weathers in, you're going to be very hard pressed to even notice that.
That's why I use the lead coated copper.
So I personally am okay with that.
Okay. Thanks. How about you, Jesse?
I'm okay with it. I think any alterations you try to make to conceal it is only going to make it worse.
That's a good point. Diane?
No, I guess being that it is a skin chimney, you can't change very much, and it's certainly better looking than that thing that poops
A
its
lot of
way up.
these, yeah.
Yeah, those filming. And the one that came with it was really ridiculously big.
Like,
it
that's
looked
horrid.
like something that would be on the roof of
Why are they-
yeah, or a laundromat kind of thing. You know?
This
Wow.
at least looks like a cap.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I have to save that for.
let's see, Stephen, you're not on this. John?
Yes, my only comment is these modern type caps that they're using, you know?
Yeah.
Years ago, my father had them on the house. They didn't have any of that. They took a piece of, like,
He
not
doesn't know what's
chicken wire,
gas.
but fence wire.
Yeah.
Harder material.
Yeah.
And you cut out a piece and put it down and cement it around the outside. That stops the birds from going down in and hibernating down there. You can find when you open your trap in the spring, you dead birds laying in the water.
Oh, yeah. You mean you put the rat wire or whatever there to keep critters from getting down in there?
It's a lot better looking than these are, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, the problem is they have all these codes now for that's a gas burning fireplace, and they have all these codes for how to
I
get
see
rid of
them on the walls, which is typical of a new house. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
I'd rather see that than a vent out the side of the building.
Well, or a vent, the real
Right.
vent coming out of the top. Can I have a motion on this one?
Motion to approve as long as the AC units have a fence around them.
Right, which is part of your application.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Those are two things that I'll get.
Right. Okay, so there's a motion on the table. All those in favor of Val's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks for waiting. We'll get some quick stuff out of the way right now. We got minutes from May 22nd. Anybody want to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Diane. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain from that.
Okay.
Just haven't read them.
All right. Good enough. So refresh my memory. Are we doing the update from the organizational committee?
No, I guess just quick update is tomorrow we'll be meeting,
What time?
1 o'clock, 1 to 3.
Okay.
And then we have,
And where?
architectural historian coming in, gonna introduce himself. We're gonna give him some feedback on our process and the role that an architectural historian might play, or architectural historians.
Remind me of his name.
Brian Pfeiffer.
Right.
Which would be, so far as we're aware at this point, kind of two-part. One part would be, we're breaking the book up into modules, starting with the rules, and there's various topics, so fences and gates, chimneys, different elements. It would be helpful to be getting insights in our recommendation to you, insights from an architectural historian on those items. We may later decide to get insight from more than one, but I think one is important. And this individual then suggested to us as having worked on guides for other communities and similar type things, specifications for historical aspects of architecture. So it seemed like Brian was going to be a really good start. The other aspect of having an architectural historian involved will be, we're looking at the different parts of the rules and then the chapters of the guidebook to see what thoughtful revisions can occur. We need insights on those, as I just mentioned. But there also should be someone or an architectural historian who has a concept and a grasp of Nantucket, which Brian does, when we're getting into the actual rewrite of the book, which we're headed towards, just so it's not a shock to anyone when we get there, that it would be the rewrite would be in the form of a narrative, much as it exists now, and a user manual that allows you to kind of present that information more concisely in a more usable format. And that, I think, will be a big portion of a role for, as equal a portion as a role for an architectural historian. Does that track with, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do things like this in a user manual?
Yeah. At least for the draft, like to get the draft going.
To get
the work going.
Yeah.
So that's the update there. I can give you, there's no, maybe John can give us an update on the Nantucket, discussion of Nantucket HDC area map. We're waiting for input from that group for that and the historic district area and their guidelines and rules. John, do you have any update on the?
So an ad's going to be, a public notice will be in the paper this Thursday, advertising for open spots that are in the advisory boards for 2-year and 1-year terms. So it'll be this week, and then we'll get applications next week, and it'll be up to the commission to appoint new applicants to those boards, the advisory boards. So hoping we'll have many applicants.
And obviously, the guys that are already on the Nantucket advisory are aware that search is going on. So if they know anybody, they'll.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all aware of that as well too. So
that's good.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
As a commissioner statement, if you're coming up Straight Wharf, will you please look at the entrance to the Macy warehouse?
Yeah.
I believe they have done what they were told not to do.
They didn't take those stones up, did they?
Yes, they did.
They did?
Yes.
They said that they weren't going to touch
two
those
steps,
stones.
and it's crazy.
The stones are gone.
I can't believe it. They said they weren't going to touch those stones.
I brought it
Guy in
up.
here.
I brought it up specifically, if you remember. I said about keeping the mica granite, that it had to stay there, that was historic and wasn't removed. And that guy said, the new guy said they would not. Well, they have.
I can't believe it.
And that makes no sense. They were going to lift it just enough so that somebody could go up in a wheelchair without having to rebuild the whole thing, and that's why.
Well, I don't see how they could have done that anyway.
Well, I'm just telling you what he said. But they sure as hell weren't supposed to do what they've done.
Oh, wow.
I'll take a
Okay.
look.
I will take a look
Yeah, I
too.
didn't, I don't.
I mean,
remember.
if, so it's done. Like,
It
it's
is
all,
in point of
Yeah, it was last
disrepair.
week.
A member of this not CPC, the NEPCDEFG.
Yes.
That nebulous group
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that nobody knows who's in it.
She called me and said, this is what has happened. And she was stunned. And so I said that I would find out and we would look at it and stop it.
I feel like writing a letter to the paper. I'll find out, you know.
Well, I think we should have them come in, because maybe there was a reason it wouldn't meet
Right.
ADA regulations or something.
Well,
You know what? There's always a reason.
Yeah.
You know,
Always a reason.
to come in. I mean, the people on the board know to come in.
I think they were desperate to get it done because everything was.
Well, as of Sunday, it wasn't done.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Diane.
Yeah.
You know.
Their schedule slid a little bit with emergency.
Okay, so now I have read the mini split guidelines that you all have a copy of. Are we ready to ratify that at this point? Do we want to discuss it further?
I
Is
believe,
there anything you need to tell us about it?
I would just suggest that if we ratify, we adopt it as Appendix H with a small VAC after it. But Appendix H for now, just so it's, and then it could maybe, it could be posted as an appendix on the website.
Is it literally Appendix H?
Yeah.
Oh, it really is?
Kind of.
Okay, well, it's, wow.
So just the update, the quick update on this, there seems to be some confusion. These are the guidelines that we've discussed over the last 6 months, maybe more, and were presented various iterations and revisions. And then Val and I used these as a basis and presented these to the Builders Association. And I was under the impression, and it may have just, I guess, my error was thinking that they were approved. I think that there was a discussion that before we went to the NBA, and before these were given, a copy was given to the energy coordinator for use for the town, that we would get that you all had reviewed them and they were approved. But it wasn't a formal noticed vote or anything, as it turns out, because we can't find that in the minutes.
Oh, okay.
So this came up at the focus committee. Mr. McLaughlin brought this up. And we appreciate the fact that he did, because we'd like to have them ratified or voted in, or whichever way we care to characterize it.
Okay. Well, I've read them multiple times. I think the language is good. I think it's very straightforward. Are we prepared to ratify it as Appendix
but I've
H?
looked at it a lot.
Oh, yes, you have, yeah. So-
Well, they seem to be pretty clear.
Well, and that's why we gave examples.
I like
Yeah,
the drawings.
I thought
Yeah,
that was good.
the drawings are extremely helpful.
Picture's worth 1,000 words.
Exactly. Hey, John, are you okay with ratifying that document into our,
After I make a comment, yeah.
okay, yeah, okay, go ahead.
This is well written, it explains it quite a bit. I think where you come on the back page, number 3, review determination A, B, there should be a C in there.
Okay, and what's the C say?
The guy's coming in to apply, and he wants to go up the wall or whatever, no, whatever these regulations hold.
Yeah.
And if he wants them, we want photos of where he thinks it's not visible from public view. You know, I think that's more important. A lot of times, if they got something, say straight at you, and you get over here next to this side of the tree.
Yeah.
And I think photos are very important with all applications. I've said it for
So
years.
are you saying that they should submit photographs?
They should submit where they think it is not visible from, on the public way.
1B is photographs.
Right. I guess I'm searching for
Right.
the language.
It would help in the long run because
Did you notice, John, just for clarification purposes, that what this says is your application needs to include images that best demonstrate where you propose it and any public views. So they have to show where they propose it, but any public views.
I just got it today, that's why I didn't.
Okay, no, I know, that's why I haven't had a chance to read it. That's why I
Okay.
wanted to ask you if that satisfies your concern.
I have no problem with that.
All right.
Now, my question is, if we vote this through, and what about the ones that are already existing?
John is going after those guys. The one that we just reviewed, John, what happened was John sent them a citation so that you're in violation, and they figured out how to make them all disappear, and that's apparently what's been happening. Happened out in Wisconsin a couple of times.
Steve's idea on going in through the wall and that.
Wait, can you repeat that?
What
did you just say?
I said I agree with your idea on it.
He said he likes your idea. A motion
that was the point. Yeah.
A motion would be great.
Motion to approve these HVAC exterior architectural elements as Appendix H
To our guidelines.
to our guidelines.
Yeah. Is that satisfactory language?
I second that motion.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Yeah, we adopted it.
Adopted whatever it is.
Guidelines.
Sounds good. Okay. All those in favor of Jesse's motion?
Aye.
Aye. Very good.
Okay.
Can we just have that be dated 06, 05, 18?
Today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exhibit
H.
For Appendix H. And I'll give you that. I mean, just so you have it as a...
Yeah.
Which one?
And then we're doing roof shingles on Thursday, is that correct?
You good with that?
Yeah, so we tossed around a few ideas. Apparently, for those of you that don't know, we have all of our samples, or all the relevant samples. So
Thank you, Steve.
we want to view those, all right? And so what was the decision as to where they would be viewed?
John and I, very briefly, John and I walked around the Plus building. We had some concerns. We had some concerns about other locations. Our chairman volunteered a location on his property. The concerns were basically that there are so many, there's almost 20 or more samples, and getting them up in a location on a roof is going to be difficult to do all at once. And if you're doing it in sequence, it's going to take a heck of a lot of time.
Yeah.
So we ended up finding a place inside the building that actually has a metal loft and has natural lighting. So we're just going to set them up in there, and it's fully accessible, and we can set up a chair. And what I was going to do, just to maybe brief you on the concept, so we're basically just going to have a sheet. We're going to set up a little thing. So it's, what roof pitch do you guys want, man? You think it's 712 or 912 or? Because it does make a difference.
I would say like a 9.
A 9, okay. So we can measure that out.
A 7 is going to mean that it's less visible.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
And not too many people do 7s.
So a 9.
Like nobody. Yeah.
So what we're going to do is just move them all up in the loft. You guys are all going to get a sheet that has all of them in a couple of columns. One's for the historic districts, one's for other areas. And should we do one for the Nantucket area, or just not? Just consider that if that's ever a historic district, it would qualify.
I think that, it's a good point, Stephen, but I think that we should establish the Nantucket area map before we get into
anything with that.
Yeah, because depending on what the parameters are,
might change people's perception.
It seems like their only concern is massing and height. Materials and roof shingles and all that, they never have a concern with.
Okay, so there'll be a list of colors, and there'll be a couple of columns, and we'll literally just put them up, and you guys will mark down whether you approve it for which area, and then we'll move to the next one, and we'll cycle through them. And then we can discuss and vote, or we can just vote.
Okay, so
I'll tally
here's a
them up and vote.
procedural thing. When is this happening?
So Thursday at 1?
Yep.
Thursday at 1.
Yep.
So
We are going to be meeting at the Plus building.
Yes.
Okay, so that is a noticed meeting,
It
so we
is.
are allowed to deliberate.
And he sent them to it, sent it.
Okay.
So we
And
can
we're
vote
good.
on it right there.
I want to make sure that we weren't in violation of any open
No,
meeting
that makes
stuff.
sense. That's a good
Okay.
It's
idea.
the back conference room technically, but
Right.
And it's
Okay.
wheelchair accessible.
So we reconvene 1 o'clock in the back of the Plus building, Thursday.
Roger that.
Copy.
Motion to adjourn.
Got it?
Got it.
The Thursday meeting at 1 o'clock, we're going to meet over at the Plus building because that's where all the shingles are going to be.
We're going to do the roof shingles.
All right, so just don't come here, come to Plus.
And John, thank you for your hard work.
And you, Val.
Thanks, everybody.
I haven't
Gosh,
done
this is
anything on
great.
the shingles.
Yes, John.
I had a comment.
Hold on, folks.
Thank you, Steve.
The mini splits were discussed on May 30th. We all know that. We discussed different decisions.
Yeah.
Discussions here.
Yep.
I just want to bring it up. And
Almost.
also, what else is there going to be help? Damn it, I forgot it. Getting old.
No, we always.
No, you're not.
Do you need a light?
I just want to mention something. No, oh yeah, we made a motion to allow the chair to write a letter to town council on how to proceed
With what?
with the, talking about the, yeah, really, hit it right here, mini splits. We discussed mini splits last week.
No, this was a broader topic. It was May 23rd of 2017. We discussed the mini splits. Yeah, John, this predates we had questions about education, information notifications, as-built issues, a written policy, discussion about creating a subcommittee to work on this. This has all been addressed.
I'm just saying, right, a lot we have done has been addressed. That's what I'm making a point on.
No, I'm not, just to be clear.
Yeah, I can't be happier about the results of the mini split.
That's going to make
Sending out the notices and having people actually respond to them.
awesome.
Yeah, it's
Are you
great.
going to hit?
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
There we are.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
At 7:17.
Yeah.